What is going on, everybody? Appreciate you guys tuning in for another episode of Second Guessan with Stressan. I am starting this one out with a special guest, Dr. Do. Dr. Do, welcome.
Hello, everyone. Your main pal, your social media platform artist, and all your YouTube favorites. Dr. Do here, y'all.
So, if y'all don't know already, but Dr. Do is very, he's got a lot of great content, specifically on TikTok and Instagram, where he's notorious for doing crazy chugs. He'll mix 2 and 3 drinks, and he's an absolute beast. I've been a fan of his content for a while, and all year I've been telling him, I've been promising him that I'll do a chug with him. And
Yeah.
it only took me 19, 20 weeks to get there with the playoffs. And so that's why I brought him on here. Real quick, though, Dr. Do, I'll allow you to, shout out your socials and all that good stuff if you want to promote your stuff real quick, just let everybody know where they can follow you.
You guys, before we get this started, if you guys are interested in what we are showing you guys, if you guys want Dr. Do merch, go to Cotton Beer, all right, to get you guys merch, shirts, glasswares, hats, and anything that would be good for winter, all right? Like this one right here. Dr. Do right here, y'all. You guys want something good for y'all for energy and energy and hydration? Well, Dr. Dude's got you something awesome, all right, y'all?
What we got, Dr. Do? He's getting out the works right here.
Right here.
Let's see.
Do energy powders and also hydration too. All right, y'all.
I did not know you had your own supplements. That's awesome.
Yeah,
But yeah, after the show, just make a tweet and I'll repost it and make sure everyone can check it out.
Think, man, it would be good because I want people to have something that would give them either hydration or energy to go through the whole entire day, like through work, through school, or workouts. These are
Absolutely.
good.
Well, hey, let's introduce to them what the drink is that you have. You call it called the mix, right?
Yeah, the
Or
Joe.
the Joe mix.
Yes, man. This is an amazing one for all you guys and girls for celebrating the greatest game for all of us. Everybody doubted us, really. They thought the Chargers were going to win this one. Am I right?
That's right.
Yeah, because last year the NFL analysis thought that the Browns are going to win against us because they had the number one defense in the NFL. But look what happened: 41-14.
Yep. Deja vu, right? So give us the rundown. What do we got here? What are the ingredients?
We got here is zero sugar Mountain Dew, which is a good one right here for those who cannot drink sugary drinks. Gatorade Zero, good for the color for the Houston Reds. And on the finally right here is the Ice Smash Red, White, and Berry. Right here, blue raspberry, green lemonade. Right there.
So I couldn't find a Smirnoff, so I got the Truly. So it's
okay.
Pretty similar, but
yeah, I don't mind that, man. All right.
All right, well, go ahead and I'll follow your lead. You're probably gonna crush me. I'll probably throw up or spit on myself, but yeah, I made a promise. I'm living up to it, so I'll follow your lead, bro.
Love your content, man. It's really good to show our team and our pride to everybody. It really is honorable one for all us fans of the Texans.
Appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, been Texans fans since they started playing around with 3 or 4 years old.
Hey, I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah.
All
right. We go with Mountain Dew right here.
And guys, I'll get into my normal show after this. This is just an opener. Little fun here. Hopefully we do it again next week.
Awesome for everyone who wants something interesting, something to celebrate.
All right. I am definitely going to throw up. It already smells. Actually, it smells kind of good.
Yeah, because I wanted my drink to smell good and also have to taste. Because stuff is have to put into your.
All right. I probably got a lot less fluid ounces than you, so but I don't know if y'all seen Dr. Do. This guy is a machine, dude. Look at that boot he's got.
Yeah, this one is a good fit because I got another one that is bigger than that, have my signature on it, but it's very hard.
All right. You got a toast for us or what?
Yeah. Let me show you something, y'all. This is the one right here.
Oh. Oh my God.
The Joe mix, it really is.
Got one more sip.
Yeah, be careful, man.
Oh my god. I feel
Yeah.
like I have so much energy right now. I need to go work out.
There you
That was
go.
actually fucking delicious, dude.
Thanks, man. Like I
Holy
said,
shit.
like
That was
I've been, I always pick the kind that make it taste good and make sure that the intensity, the tasting, combined with the great one, another one that has the great
dude, you
taste.
are on to something there. That was absolutely delicious. Holy shit.
Thank you, man. All
So
right.
what is your rating on that?
I give it a 6.7 because I didn't. It was too. I didn't put this much in here. That like a lot of this. Right.
I just thought for sure I was going to throw up, and I think I'm going to drink more as the show goes on. But I appreciate that, and you have my word. If we beat the Chiefs, I'm down to do another one. Maybe I'll, you know,
Yeah, man.
put more in the cup this time. But
It would be awesome for to do win this against the Chiefs because we want to make sure that we prove the NFL that we are the team that should not be underestimated in Texas. We are the real Texas team, not the American team, the Texas team right there. Cowboys could keep that title, but they no longer have the other title they were before.
yeah, let them know, man. I appreciate that. Well, Dr. Do, again, I appreciate you coming on. I'm going to continue with the show.
Yeah,
Everybody, check out Dr. Do. He's basically Dr. Do on all social media, very prevalent on TikTok and Instagram, also on YouTube. Appreciate you tuning in, bro. And I will catch up with you soon, man.
awesome person. This is the one right here, everyone.
I appreciate that, brother. Take it easy, man.
You too, man. Have a great night, y'all.
All right. All right, everybody. Yeah, so that was a fun little deal there. That's my guy, Dr. Do. Y'all need to check him out. He is awesome. He also does dance videos. He freaking crushes it. Um, I think the drink I just drank is like starting to kick in now a little bit. My stomach kind of feels like shit, but I'll probably drink some of this Truly though. But yeah, let me catch up on some comments here. I didn't even check out the chat. Uh, LMAO from Houston Sports Fan. Yeah, dude. I mean, sometimes you just got to be a man of your word. I told Dr. Do I would do a chug, and there we are. We did it. I'm definitely feeling it for sure. But yeah, I mean, that game against the Chargers was absolutely awesome. It went exactly how I thought it would. It was based off of elite defense. What I was saying, the biggest thing was for the first time all year, we finally had our front seven, 1 through 2, first string and second string, healthy. So coupled that with the fact that D'Amico Ryans is a elite big game planner. And, I thought for sure they would get turnovers. I thought they would have a good chance of scoring a touchdown on defense. That's exactly what happened. It should have been 2 pick sixes, back-to-back possessions. I actually had Mark Vandermeer on the day before, and I asked him over under how many rock and rolls on the radio call, and he said, "Oh, for sure, at least 1." And then I said, "Well, what would it take to get 2?" And he said, "It would have to be something crazy like 2 pick sixes." And I was like, "Oh, kind of like how it happened in the Browns game." He's like, "Yeah, if we have 2 pick sixes, I'll say whatever you want." And so he said that he would say we blessing if we had 2 pick sixes. And Derek Stingley was that close to doing just that. I believe Eric Murray would have got a better block. That it could have happened, but it is what it is. It was a great game. Awesome win. We'll dive into the stats and the grades and all that good stuff, and I'll kind of do comments throughout. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Sosa the One says awesome chug challenge. Appreciate it. Yeah, like the more I talk, the more my stomach is hurting. At first, the drink was awesome. Now it kind of sucks. Rare Britain, appreciate you tuning in. Says let's go LMFAO. HGV says go Bills. Maybe we'll see y'all in the AFC Championship. Who else we got on IG? HTX Noel says what's good. What's up, brother? Smacko says what are the chances against Casey? I feel pretty good, man. I'll dive in here in a second, but I feel pretty good. Simi Hendricks, love that name. Exactly. They were rocking that defense is elite. Facts, dude. He said, which interception was the best you think? I mean, the Murray one was, relatively easy to catch. So I'd probably have to go with one of the Stingley ones. Or no, the Kamari one was the best. That was insane coverage. Kamari Lassiter continues to be underrated, not to us, but maybe to the national media. But his ball skills, I think, are very underrated. Like, He only had, maybe one interception last year at Georgia, I believe. But all of a sudden now he's having more interceptions and he's got like elite ball skills on top of being a physical, aggressive corner. With that, sorry, my mouth's kind of all sticky from all that sugar. That sounded kind of, that should be a pause right there, huh? Anyhow, yeah, the Kamari Lassiter pick was my favorite. We got Brandon Hallman. Shout out Brandon. He said John Runyon didn't write a letter about Rasheed. That's crazy. Shout out Dime on YouTube. Throw up those H's. And then Brandon says, did you notice Aziz Alshire has been punished more than Rasheed Rice? And Rice was literally breaking laws and hurting people. Yeah, I mean, sometimes the league does things a certain way and you can't do much about it, but it is what it is. Over on TikTok, we got Zach Knox says, yo, what up, brother? IR says, let's go. I'm looking at TikTok on my phone right here. Texans on top says Houston winning it all. Let's go, baby. But yeah, the Chargers game, I even wrote like an in-depth article about it, and I talked to you guys about it. My score prediction was 27-13. It was 32-12. So, I mean, it was pretty close. We'll just go into going over, kind of just going through the box score and go through the grades and take it from there. So let me get the scores fired up. In the meantime, like always, if you got any questions or comments, feel free to chime in. But yeah, man, I'm feeling good. Going into this Chiefs game is kind of like last week. I felt, pretty good initially. And then as the week's gone on and as I've gone into it, and y'all see why as we dive into it here in a second, why I feel even better about it. But for now, we will start on reviewing the Chargers game. And you guys are aware it was, I think, Rex Ryan, said bye week. We had no chance. Everyone's shitting on us. All the pundits, they show all the game picks, like, 12 people out of 12 people, one person would pick us. And yeah, we definitely proved them wrong. So we got a couple more comments over here. Let's see what we got. The overlay, we got, okay. Engineer says Rasheed Rice literally drove into civilians at full speed and ditched the scene on camera. LMAO. He also says, hopefully this weekend will make Stroud a Hall of Fame QB. That is crazy the way this season has gone. It's been good, but like compared to our expectations and the ups and downs and the highs and lows, mostly the offense, we expected them to be elite this year with how they played last year. We're getting our whole starting O-line back. We had Joe Mixon, we had Stephon Diggs, yada, yada. And we all know the story, and it's crazy how it can all be remedied in just a couple short weeks. I mean, if we win this game, all that shit's forgotten. It's already kind of forgotten just from one big game by CJ. So it is kind of a special thing in that sense. Let me take off the overlay right there. And then True Texan says, number one key to beating the Chiefs is generating QB pressure on Mahomes. We saw the potential of what we can coverage-wise. Just roll into this one with ultra confidence and play H-Town ball. That is a great point, and we can definitely do that. Pat 1960 on YouTube says Chiefs three-peat. I mean, you got to beat them, right? Well, you got to dethrone them. I think we got a shot, bro. And then we got John McClain. Shout out John on Facebook, says Lassiter had to catch up, and it gave momentum right back to Houston after the turnover. Yeah, even like the timing of Kamari's pick was insane. I mean, that game was such a back and forth momentum swinging game early on. And to John's credit, Kamari's pick was right after CJ's pick. So it basically wiped it out and gave us the ball back. Kind of a dumb decision by Herbert, but it was still an absolute great play by Kamari. And then, yeah, we got Brandon. I hit that one up already. And we got a new one right here. Austin on X says CJ was the same way at Ohio State. The best players play their best games in the biggest moments. I love that. That's a great point. He rose to the occasion no matter how difficult the season may have been all year prior to then. And then he kind of played like, we all saw in that, I believe, the Sugar Bowl against Georgia, where he used his legs more. So that was great to see. Over on TikTok, Eric says, what will the score be on KC to Houston? I'll give that later, but I think the Texans can win. Zach Martin on TikTok says, bold prediction, Texans don't give up a touchdown. That would be lit, and I could definitely see that. as frustrating as the Texans season has been on offense, the Chiefs has been just as frustrating. So that could definitely happen. Donovan McGowan says defense has to score again. I don't know if they have to, but I could definitely see it. I would love for that to happen. And then we got Will Monroe says, what are the keys to victory? Yeah, so I'll touch on the keys to victory here in just a second. And then Donovan also says, to be the man, you got to beat the man. That is 1,000% true. Will Monroe says, there needs to be a conversation about Kamari being considered elite. Facts. I mean, us as Texans fans know that he should be considered, he should be in the talks of defensive rookie of the year. He's a dog, dude, the locksmith. Him and Kalen Bullock are insane as rookies. And then Ethan on TikTok says, hopefully no injuries. Yeah, I mean, last time we had 2 devastating injuries against the Chiefs. But let me check on IG, make sure we're good over here. Simi Hendricks, that broken play, CJ fix changed my whole vibe of the game. I was down until then, and after that, I just knew we had the game. Facts, man. I think that was for everybody because, the game hadn't really been going the way we wanted. I actually tried to sneak and use the restroom, and I saw that play from the top of the stairs walking back to the game, and it was insane, dude. That was awesome to see. But yeah, I mean, I was frustrated. But yeah, let me just dive into the Chargers, and I'll get back to some of the comments here in a second. I will definitely, we'll just go by the play-by-play real quick, kind of recap how the game went. First drive, Chargers come out, and they just are methodically moving the ball down the field. Don't even face a third down until the very end. They're converting on first down, second down, deep middle passes, running the ball between the tackles, and not how I expected it to start. And I'm thinking, oh shit, this could be a long game. But then we get them to a 3rd and 1, and Foley Fatukasi had a massive play, a 2-yard tackle for loss, force them to 4th and 3, hold them to a field goal. So it starts out looking grim, and then shut them down right there. And then very next possession on offense, Bobby comes out, motions mixing out of the backfield, spreads them out, throws a quick slant, a quick over the middle route to Mechie. Something we wanted to see was quick game, nice catch, and then he fumbles it. And it's just immediately the air is just, before you can even get excited about the game, it's fucking done. That was tough to see. I'll minimize this so y'all can see that. I'll put me in the corner there. Let's see, hide message. Yeah, so that was tough too. Like from the stands, it was hard for me to tell. I thought it may have not have been a fumble, but it looks like on the TV replay, it was definitely a fumble. And then so sudden change. Defense held on the field goal first drive, and you're now on your own territory. They get 1 first down, and then after that, the big play on there was the sack by Will Anderson Jr., which put them in 2nd and long. And then from there, they didn't get much else. And so again, you hold them to a field goal, 6-0, and it could be 14-0. So that's huge. And then you turn around. I really felt like that next drive, Bobby got scared by that play, and we did the run pass. And it didn't work out. So then now they get the ball, they go 4 and out. And I believe on that drive, there was a penalty on them. I'm trying to see if there was Fatukasi had a big run stuff. And then there's a penalty on us on 2nd and 14, defensive holding. And let's see if there's any other sacks or anything. Nope. So get the ball back. And then again, it's the same thing, sputtering offense, 5 plays. Stroud gets sacked on 2nd and 10. That kills the drive after getting a first down. So you feel like you're starting to move the ball, and then you get a sack. Drive done. And then I believe that was that's not that play, but then they get the ball back, and then they go 5 plays and out. So it's kind of like a lackluster game at this point. It's a lot of back and forth of offenses not doing much. And then we have the interception from CJ, which I believe it's a miscommunication at the least. I thought it was like a flood return concept where basically the outside receiver ran a vertical. The middle slot guy and Woods ran like a whip or a return. And then Schultz in the slot ran like a corner or a deep out, like a rolling out. Was supposed to, but he stopped. And I don't know if he did that based off coverage and if he was right or wrong. But CJ had pressure on him, kind of threw the ball up. if Schultz runs his route correctly. I don't know if he gets to the ball or not. Regardless, it was a pick. And then, as we mentioned earlier, the very next play, Kamari gets a pick right back. Incredible play. And then we go 4 plays punt. So it's back to a snooze fest. And then they go 6 plays and punt. And then that's where things finally get interesting. Probably one of the best I mean, I said this earlier on someone's show. Like, was this, considered potentially one of the best drives in Texans history? A 99-yard drive. Come out, get a good run on first down, start to move the ball, convert a third down, and then you get backed up on a penalty. I believe it was tripping by Titus Howard, which was pretty funny if you watch it on the film. He kind of like kicked the guy in the neck almost. So, anyways, we're at 2nd and 21, then 3rd and 16. Stroud fumbles the snap. He just wasn't looking. It wasn't like snapped early or anything. It was just he just didn't have his eyes on the ball. I'm not sure what happened, but this is like, if the Texans go on to win a Super Bowl or have some crazy run, they talk about like the start of the championship DVD. That's the moment right there. So it goes from a potential absolute disaster to an awesome wow play. CJ flushes the pocket right, finds Xavier Hutchinson over the middle for a big gain. And then from there, we quickly hit Nico for a 37-yard gain. And then a couple plays later, boom, Nico Collins, 13-yard touchdown. And then this was crazy to me too, is the Chargers had the ball back with like, a minute or less left. They run 3 consecutive pass plays and don't use any time. They use 30 seconds on the clock. Very rare for a Harbaugh team to be super aggressive in that scenario when they're only down 1. Give us the ball back, a good efficient return by Woods, and then we had the big run by CJ where he stepped up in the middle of the pocket and gained 27, which I think might have been his career-long rush. And something that I picked up on too was during the week, during CJ's interview, he mentioned, how he's still young, he's still learning, and he saw on the Schultz, the pick that he threw when he was targeting Schultz earlier. He said on the sidelines on the iPad, he noticed he could have ran the ball up the middle, that they were giving him that option. And so the very next drive was this field goal drive, or not the very next drive, a couple drives later on this field goal drive, he did just that. He saw the middle of the field wide open and took off. And, I think people realize like, man, he's actually got some wheels. So my biggest thing for CJ and him running, I've been saying this since last year. I walked away from the divisional round playoff loss to the Ravens. That was like, if people would ask like, what do you think is the one thing that Stroud can improve upon? And my answer was, and still is to run the ball better. And I wasn't asking him to run all the time. It's more so of what Mahomes does, in the sense that it's situational. It's, big games like the playoffs, or it's, end of halves or got to have it moments, third down, stuff like that. And it's really like, don't be risky either. It's just when the option is there, take it. And to me, it's all about being decisive. You drop back. If you see it, take it right away. I felt like in that Baltimore game last year and throughout his career, he would flush the pocket and he would have an option to pick up, 3, 4, 5, 6 cheap yards and get out of bounds unhit. But I feel like, maybe it's him being a young quarterback. He was always looking for the home run, always looking downfield. But to me, it's like when the defense gives you those yards and you can make it, 2nd and 5, 2nd and 4, or 3rd and 1, you always take them, rather than try and bomb it down the field. And then now you're stuck in these 3rd and long. So it was great to see that happen. That big run got us a field goal. So a game that was like a typical Texans game where we just couldn't ever quite get momentum, a blessing, stressing back and forth. Felt like we got dominated. We walk out of the half up 10-6. And we got outplayed except for the final 2 minutes or less. And then we got the ball back. And then after getting the ball back, we come out on offense looking great, firing, moving the ball down the field. There's a 3rd and 5. We had a big 41-yard gain to Nico. And then Bobby calls a halfback pass, in which Mixon is looking to throw. So the ball is kind of just hanging out, away from his body. It's not open. He makes a wise decision to run. But since he was about to pass. He didn't quite get good ball security, and he fumbles the ball, kills all the momentum. We're about to blow the game open, not blow it open, but get a comfortable lead, and then boom, fumble. So that was very deflating. But defense turns around, and I thought this was probably the biggest key on defense. It was our short yardage defense. I guess I should say they aren't getting enough love. Is 3rd and 2. Aziz had a big tackle meeting the running back in the hole, and then on 4th and 2, Stingley with a great PBU on Quentin Johnson. We get the ball right back, and then we get a field goal the next drive, but it was pretty resilient because I believe this was the one where CJ threw a pick and it got overturned to Derwin James. I didn't love the decision. It was basically a wheel route to Schultz on Derwin James. And to me, he's like one of, if not the best cover safety in the league. So I thought it was a mismatch for them. And I thought it wasn't a terrible ball. Like, it could have been like maybe a little bit better, but it was a pretty good ball, and Derwin just made a hell of a play. But anyway, so that got overturned, and this whole game was weird. So on this play, and I hate this rule in the NFL. Like, I don't know how you make a new solution for this, but so they call it a pick, and it wasn't. And so, but they, obviously the return happens, and then we get a personal foul on the return. And so they go back, review it. Oh, it's not a pick, but the penalty stands. So rather than it being, what should it have been? 1st and 10 or whatever it was. Should have been 1st and 15 or 2nd and 15. Now it's 2nd and 30. And then on 2nd and 30, you get a holding call. So we had 2nd and 40 on the 49. And I feel like most of the year when this stuff would happen, we would end up punting and not getting a field goal. But for us to come back and hit two, we hit a 13-yard pass and then a 12-yard pass and kick a field goal. I thought that was a huge win. So that put us up 13-6, 3-and-out by the Chargers, 3-and-out by us. And then this was the defense that just absolutely took over. Pick six by Murray. Very next possession, pick by Stingley. Could have been a pick six. This was tough. You get the ball down on the 13-yard line. Mixon runs it for 9. It's 2nd and 1. 2nd and 1. And we do a pass play on 2nd and 1 at the 4, and we get sacked. Boom, dead. So that was tough. Like, you end up settling for a field goal there as opposed to getting a touchdown. So yet another play or scenario where we could have really blown the game open, and we didn't. And then we got, after that, we got a touchdown. They gave up a touchdown. This was kind of fluky. It was, a 3rd-and-long play where Lad McConkey on 3rd and 26 caught an 86-yard touchdown from Herbert. It was kind of in double coverage with Miles Bryant, and then Kalen Bullock kind of took a bad angle on the ball. So kind of lucky. And so, momentum back on their side, but then immediately after we get the block kick return by D'Angelo Ross. We all saw that. So that was a pretty big swing there. That was a 3-point swing. And then probably the most impressive part of the game for me was this last second to last drive for the Texans offense. Basically a 7-minute drive where we ran the ball right down the field. A lot of good plays, a lot of good calls. O-line dominated. And I love to see that we ran a quarterback sneak finally on a 4th-and-1, and it worked. We finally ran a quarterback sneak, and then Mixon capped it off with a touchdown. So that was great to see. Those are like the championship drives, in my opinion, where you can take a lot of time off the clock and put the game away. And then, just to put some more icing on the cake, this was kind of similar to the Dolphins game. Just get another pick by Stingley just to seal it. That was awesome to see. So I will quickly go through a couple of team stats and get back to the questions here in just a second. So they had 15 first downs. We had 20. Third down efficiency, they were 3 of 11. So great third down defense. We were 5 of 14 on offense. So not great, but it's been worse before. They were 0 for 1 on 4th down. We were 2 for 2. So that was huge. 2 for 2 on 4th down. And total yards, they had 261. We had 429 yards of total offense. Passing, they had 211. We had 261. And then rushing, they had 50. We had 168 yards rushing. A lot of that, not a lot of that, but the reason why that was higher is because CJ contributed to that number. And then red zone, they were 0 for 1. We were 2 for 4. So good, not great in red zone. We'll take that. And like we said, like you had those penalties, and then you had a sack on the two that we didn't convert. Turnovers, they had 4, we had 3. That's just a crazy game. Time of possession, 25 for the Chargers, 34 for the Texans. Box score, Herbert. I said it on here. I said it with you guys. I had a Chargers fan in here chirping me. Like I try to be humble and not like talk a lot of mess. But I said we would expose Herbert, and we did just that. 14 of 32 for 242 yards, 4 sacks, and he had a 40 rating. Stroud, he's back. He had that big run, got his mojo back. He's 22 of 33 for 282 and a 90 rating. He had the most passing yards of any quarterback playing this past weekend. We scored the most points of any team playing this weekend. One of my biggest keys to the game was shutting down the run. Their whole offense was predicated off the run. If we did that, they were forced into long passing downs. We did just that. They had 18 carries for 50 yards. We shut that shit down. And then on the flip side, my other key was running the ball on offense for us. It was cliche, but we won that key too. We were 25 carries for 106 yards by Mixon, and 6 for 42 by Stroud. And we were able to successfully run the ball by doing something I've been saying we should do for a while, which is pass to open the run. And Bobby's honestly been doing it for 3, 4, 5 weeks now. But, we saw it coming out the gate. A lot of quick passes, a lot of stuff over the middle, taking advantage of some soft zone coverage. And then late in the game, they make adjustments, get tired, and now you run the ball. That seems to be a good recipe, and I really think that's something we should try and do for the Kansas City game. But on the receiving end, Lad McConkey, 9 for 197. He had that 86-yard catch, which could have easily not been a catch or just a 20, 30-yard catch. So, I mean, if you could take away 86 of the 242 for Herbert were on one kind of fluky play. So, I mean, he really got shut down. As far as the Texans, Nico, he didn't even get a target for the whole first quarter and a half. He wound up with 7 catches for 122 yards. He's just a beast. And then after that, we kind of spread the ball around. Stover had 4 catches. Hutch had the big one. Metch had 4 for 28. He had a tough game, a drop or 2 in the fumble. Hopefully he bounces back. Schultz had a couple catches, etc. But yeah, so that's pretty much the box score there. And then we can go into the grades for PFF in just a second as well. I will, I guess, touch on the Deontay Johnson deal real quick. I had posted a video of him running routes in the game where he was open and running great routes. And I was like, man, this is awesome to see. Like, we need to get him the ball. Can't wait for us to get him the ball against the Chiefs. And then he gets cut like the next day. And, you're kind of scratching your head. And then shortly thereafter, you kind of learn from a bunch of local Houston beat reporters that, evidently after the game, he was disgruntled for not getting the ball. So much so to the point where, team captains had to go up and try to like diffuse the situation. Meanwhile, the rest of the team is smoking cigars, celebrating a hard fought victory. Like, you just hate to see it. Like, I get the frustration, but it's, I think if you're Deontay, like you'd have to keep in mind, like, you've been here for a couple weeks. So one, you really don't know the playbook that well, and it's not your fault. No one would. So 2 is you don't have that chemistry with the quarterback. It takes time, and it's kind of hard for CJ to trust you, even if you're open, if he doesn't know that you're going to be in the right spot because you may not know the playbook. So and it's just kind of ironic, like for someone who, he's bounced around because he wants to get more opportunities. You did something that basically gets the opposite of what you want. Like, he wanted more opportunities, and he got upset about it in a way that got him cut. And so now you get no opportunities. You just got picked up by the Ravens, who it sounds like are just holding him hostage for their own benefit. And not only that, but going into next year, teams are going to see you getting cut again and what happened, and maybe not want to give you a chance. So it's just a shame. But the way D'Amico handled it, I loved it. He nipped it in the butt right away before it could become anything. And then when he was asked about it in the presser, very first question was like a 1-second answer on to Kansas City. Boom, that's it. Because it very well could have been a distraction. He did not allow it to be the case at all. But yeah, let me get back to some of the comments here. Just wanted to knock that out of the way real quick. Let me scroll up. We got a couple good ones. Let's see. Yeah, we got some good ones here. We got engineer says, hopefully, yeah, we mentioned that earlier. And then Austin, I think I hit that one. And then, yeah, here we go. Engineer says the mic'd up episode from D'Amico was insanely wholesome. Yeah, man, I watched it a lot of times. I got goosebumps the entire time. I mean, how can anyone watch that and just not be like, this coach is awesome? And honestly, before we got D'Amico, I wanted like an offensive minded head coach and this and that. But like I've quickly learned that the intangibles that D'Amico has are awesome. I mean, you see it. I mean, he's literally encouraging each and every player all throughout the game. Every time the defense walks out the field, he daps up every player, tells them all good job. Same thing for offense. He's very aware. The whole sideline is very aware of situations. There was like a big third down stop. Defense was amped. He was immediately tell them to stay on the field. Like they're just the whole staff was locked in. Bobby was locked in. They were all in sync. Yeah, it's just an awesome coaching staff. I agree. Austin says a couple big sacks and hard LB hits on Kelsey. I could see KC scoreless as well. Yeah, scoreless. I would love that. I mean, defense is that good though. Brandon Hallman, 13-3 Texans would be a glorious low scoring game. That would be insane, and I would not be surprised. I could see it happening. Engineer says the Chiefs got Mahomes, Kelsey, Hopkins, Worthy, Brown, and Pacheco. We got a Stroud and a Collins. Yeah. But the Chiefs season, and I don't know, like Worthy and Brown, like they're awesome, but like it's not like, I don't know. It's just I wouldn't call them like superstars. Um, and the way their season has gone, they just kind of been getting by, like, taking underneath stuff. They're not really an explosive offense. We'll see with Worthy and Brown. I think Brown's only played a couple games since his injury, but I mean, I'm not terrified of those weapons. Kelsey's aging. I think Noah Gray might be better than Kelsey almost at this point. Dime says, got to tighten up those fumbles, get the ball to Joe in the backfield. NRG was so damn lit this weekend. I agree, man. So, yeah, that's one big key is hold on to the damn ball. If we would have not fumbled the ball, that game would have been way out of hand for the Chargers. And I agree, NRG was so damn lit, dude. I had deja vu from the Browns game. I had a blast. Brandon says Colts got a Germany game. They did so poorly they deported the team. Oh man, Colts fans are down bad right now. Engineer, what gives me some hope is that D'Amico has faced Mahomes several times when he was the DC at San Fran. That's a great point, man. Yeah, and I got some other points too that I'll hit on here in a second when we get into the Chiefs more in depth. Forrest says, "What up, Stressan? What up, brother? Appreciate you tuning in, man." And then we got Trayvon Moses. I feel good going into this game. We must start off really fast and commit no turnovers. I agree. I mean, I think we could still win with one or two turnovers, but you look at the last game against them, which we can look at here too. A big reason why we lost was because we did commit two turnovers. I think that was probably the biggest reason why we lost, honestly. So, yeah, I agree with that. Then we got Forrest says, this interior D will play an important game. Our LB will handle the rest. Our secondary is nice. Yep, that's a great point. It's hard to argue with that. And something we'll see here later, about their O-line that will further prove your point. Engineer says Hutchinson is so weird. I don't think the guy can separate to save his life, but he's always involved in big clutch plays with Stroud. LMAO. Yeah, and on that play, I think he was open regardless. I think that's why it worked. I don't know if it was the scheme or they busted the coverage. But yeah, I mean, he's not. He's kind of like he should be an X receiver. Like he's Nico's backup. He's the bigger body, but Nico's fast. But yeah, he's more of a possession receiver. I agree. But yeah, he's just a gamer, dude. I guess that's the way to put it. And then Forrest says they did not respect Houston's D, something Casey will not do. Yeah, and then like a lot of the media is also doing that. And then Sidelines Sarah said, who's the plant? I don't know. That's a great question. I know they referred to that on the AFC South roundtable, the show I was just on. I was oblivious. I have no idea. 13 seconds says, I need a massage. Wow, pause. And then Engineer, 13 seconds. Ayo. Yeah, right. And then 13 seconds says, if the Chiefs win on Saturday, one of y'all will give me a massage. That is kind of weird. I don't know where this is going right now. 13 seconds says, better get those hands ready. This is getting really weird. And then engineer says, didn't realize Diddy was a Texans fan. I did not either, engineer. This is getting crazy. 13 seconds. That's, you're wilding out, bro. John McClain says 13 straight runs. Yeah, that sounds more like it. He says he needs his massage again. I don't know why I keep reading his comments. This is very weird. John McClain says, very uncharacteristic of Slowick. And then Dime, I went in on some guy who said their bookend tackles would neutralize our edge rush. I'd make sure to go to those comments. Ha ha. Yeah, dude. And I got a stat from Next Gen that will prove your point that no, they won't. I know Joe Tooney's out there at left tackle and he's playing, supposedly decent, but he's a guard. Yeah, I'm not. Their tackles still suck. And they got the best edge rushing duo in the league. Engineer, my Kool-Aid take is their O-line gets absolutely decimated. The Chargers O-line was supposedly number one in the league, or at bare minimum top 5, and they got demolished. Yeah, man, that's a really great point. I mean, I could definitely see it. The only thing is from there is just containing Mahomes on the scramble drill. Engineer, DJ is just immature. Austin, mentioning Worthy like a star isn't that time yet. Yeah, no, I agree. He's not. I don't think he is. He's got the speed. He could hit you on some plays, but he's definitely not a star. Brown's not 100%. Yep. So those are some key factors. And then John says Worthy only good for 2 catches a game, maybe. Yeah, I'm on the same page with y'all. Brandon says if Texans beat the Chiefs, there will be 30 other fan bases talking trash on our behalf. That is true. It is Houston versus everybody as far as the media not picking us, but we do have all the other fan bases that want us to win. Austin says keys to victory, Joe Mixon. That is a great key to victory. That will be crucial. Jesse Gonzalez, I think the D-line needs to collapse the interior of the Chiefs O-line. This is where Mahomes usually does his scrambling. That is very true. And I think that will and can happen. And D'Amico mentioned this. I haven't posted the clip yet, but I believe it was on Coffee with Coach with Mark Vandermeer and John Harris. Shout out Mark Vandermeer. He joined me last week before the game. He's going to be joining me again tomorrow at 10 a.m. So make sure all y'all tune in. This time it's going to be a live Q&A. I'll select questions to present to him. But on the show with them, he mentioned, and this will be one of my keys to the game, is Mahomes, not only does he scramble, but he scrambles up through the B gap, through the interior, like Jesse is saying. So we learned that from last time. You can do a lot more damage, scrambling up through the middle of the field. He did it against us on that bum ankle for that touchdown. So I agree 100%. And he also has a really good interior. But since the change from Tooney from left guard to left tackle is not as good, we'll dive into that. Sideline Sarah says, I think Irv. When you say when he's the plant, Irv, like someone like he's against us, I guess that would make sense. Yeah, that's what a plant is. But for who, though? Expand on that. I'm kind of lost. Austin says, another key to victory. Can McDuffie cover Collins? My opinion, no, sir. I agree. It sounds like from Spagnola, too, that he may try and shadow him some, but Nico's just that good. They do run a lot of man, and they press a lot. We'll see that here soon. McLean says, could it be Diggs to give info to Buffalo? I don't know where this plant talk is coming from. Like, is there any tells? Are y'all talking about how we've been so bad this year on offense? Is that what it is? Weston Herringer says, I think a big part is CJ's confidence, and that massive run played a huge role. No need for him to be Lamar or anything, but those 5-yard runs will seal it. I agree 1,000%, bro. And then he also goes on to say, and not sure if you covered this yet, but we finally did a QB sneak. Yes, I did say that, and it was freaking awesome. Let me catch up on TikTok. Will, I hit that one. And then Donovan says, I think we can win this game. Product of the H. Shout out Product of the H. You've been killing it, bro. He's on TikTok, and he's also on Instagram. He's crushing it, dude. Keep it up. He says, Bobby does seem gun shy. I hope that doesn't affect him too much. I think there is an element. I kind of hope this was the case where Bobby kind of kept things, close to his vest, his cards, and he kind of opened things back up in this playoff game. And Landry Locker actually asked him a good question today about Joe Mixon. which I mentioned on that first offensive play of the game. He motioned him out of the backfield. He asked about him like as a receiving threat, using him more, and then Bobby said, yeah, I'm sure y'all noticed us using him in training camp and early on in the year. And he said he kind of got away from it, but he said he got away from it from like a workload standpoint to keep mixing healthy, which I love too. So that's something to keep in mind. Like, this is like, it kind of reminds me of Dusty Baker his last couple years with the Astros. It frustrated the hell out of me when it happened, but he was always a big picture guy. He was always resting players. He always thought big picture. D'Amico is the same way. Like, if a player's coming off injury, gives them extra time. You know, we won't utilize mixing with the heavy workload. Maybe conservative on stuff. Like, he is thinking playoffs. So I think he does that with, as far as being conservative, not overworking guys. I think he also does that as far as the game plan goes. I think, like, call me dumb or crazy, but I really do think, Bobby held some stuff back. I think D'Amico held stuff back against the Ravens and the Chiefs. Both those games, to fans, those were big games for us to prove to the rest of the world that we are a legit contender. But obviously they wanted to win, but they weren't going to, risk the future when it matters in the playoffs for that. In the sense that I think it was vanilla game plans. They didn't go crazy adjustments. We didn't come out with some exotic, game plan to stop Mahomes. We just ran stuff. If you beat it, fine. And I'm sure he told these guys that too, like, kind of that mindset. Like, it's not a loser mindset, but like, hey, like, we got to keep some stuff. And we saw it the year before with the Browns. I mentioned it last week. They whooped our ass at home at NRG. Amari Cooper went off. Everyone said, why didn't Stingley shadow? D'Amico says, oh, we don't do that. We play them 2 or 3 weeks later. And sure enough, Stingley shadows, shut them down. We beat them. And then this Chargers game, it looks like we're doing different stuff. It just feels different. They probably held stuff back. Ravens game, that was the worst I had seen our run defense under D'Amico Ryans. And what it was is, I had called it out at the time. They ran a lot of gap scheme stuff. So they ran a lot of whams and traps where tight ends would crash into the middle and, catch and basically blindside a tackle, and vice versa. You have, maybe a tight end or a guard kicking out, blindsiding like an edge rusher. And those really kind of got us off guard because of the way our defense is. With our D line, it's like an attack, vertical, run straight ahead as fast as you can, as hard as you can. But basically, you can be over aggressive in that, and the team can take advantage of it by allowing you to. It's almost like a screen where they let you kind of go and then come and blindside you with someone else. And so he mentioned that on the show with John and Mark about how that happened against the Chargers on the first drive. That first drive, we talked about how they marched the ball on the field. They started doing that same gap stuff that the Ravens did, but this time we adjusted. So stuff like that, I feel like, is kind of held close to the vest. And then, last year in the playoffs against the Ravens, we had Christian Harris spying Lamar. I would expect something like that to happen with the Chiefs. Some kind of new wrinkle that we haven't done. D'Amico's just too good of a mastermind, in my opinion. And then let's see, we got Bakari says, do a position by position matchup. I can do that on PFF. I can do that. Austin says, Texans don't have plants, period. And then John says, AFC South show was talking about the plant. Yeah, that was on the last show. I still don't know what it is. Jesse says, I see Texans playing 5 people on the line and playing more man coverage. Or what kind of disguises do you think they'll throw at their offense since Aziz is back? Hold on, let me get a sip of this Truly. It's actually pretty good. Yeah, so again, we'll see it when we go through the next gen stuff. We ran more 5-man down linemen against the Chargers than we had all year. It was like insane. It was like 50%. Part of that could be game plan, but I suspect against the Chargers, that was just matching the opponent because the Chargers run a lot of heavy personnel. But yeah, we could do some crazy stuff, dude. And we got Tay on YouTube. CJ needs to hit a few early runs to keep the defense honest. Yep, I agree. Over on TikTok, Righteous says, keys to victory, no huddle, fast pace, and let CJ loose. I agree. We need to pass to open the run. Quick game to start. T Perk projection for Saturday. I think we win. I'll give you my score here in a bit. Sauce Man says, as an Eagles fan, Stroud just has to keep confidence. Like when he loses, that it's bad, can just tell. I agree, but I mean, it's easier said than done too, though. Like obviously, if you're playing better, your confidence is better, and if your protection's good, all that stuff. So, and then product of the H says, dude straight up lied about being team first. He's talking about Deontay Johnson. Yeah, that was crazy, bro. That was crazy. Raul says, let Bobby cook. I agree, man. And so when Bobby cooks, I call him Bob, and I feel like he's been cooking this last 4 or 5 weeks. So to me, he's Bob Slowick. I feel like we should all start. It's like it's a rebrand, Like I don't know who Bobby is. I know who Bob is. Bob Slowick, he's in his bag. Um, Ryan says Clay Martin and crew will be hard to beat. Yeah, I forgot about the rest. I think they're 6-0. And then Jay says, I can see the Texans game being closer than the 8.5 on the betting apps. Oh, for sure. I think we covered for sure, in my opinion. Yvette says, let's go Texans. Yes, man. Let's get it. Let's get a couple Instagram chats. Sorry, Instagram. I've been neglecting you. Let's see if we got any good ones here. I'm going to scroll up a little bit. HDZ Dustin says, love your content, man. I appreciate that, bro. Appreciate you. Weston says, Will owns Herbert. Dude put pressure on almost every play. I'm sorry, guys. Like, my personality is, like, you can see it in my posting, but I try and just do everything really fast. So on here, I try to talk way too fast, and I end up stumbling over my words at times. So I apologize. KYNG Tita says, go Texans. Yes, sir. Texans fan 81. What up, brother? He says, put me on, bro. Bro, what's good? Appreciate you tuning in. Weston says, exactly. I think the confidence is finally there after that big run. No need for him to be Lamar or anything, but little 5-yard runs would definitely do the trick. Yeah, I think we all agree, and it's nothing crazy. Oh, we got Aaron Wilson on the live. He says, what's good, buddy? Any questions? Thanks for tuning in, Aaron. I guess if you're still on there, do you expect Shaq Mason to play? Is he just on reserve as a backup? Will Juice Scruggs still be the right guard? I would hope the answer is yes, with the way the O-line has been playing. Jibbo the Kid says, pulling up to the game this weekend, masterclass on the way. Oh, you're going to KC. Damn, bro. Baggy says, if our O-line can hold it down, we can really win this game, especially with our defense. Yeah, dude, O-line, if they play the way they've been playing, we're good, bro. I agree 100%. Let me scroll back down a little bit to IG. Let's see what else we got. Make sure we didn't miss anything. Yeah, and by the way, too, I haven't mentioned it on here yet, but we're having our watch party again. Me, Ruben, Harley, AD. He can't be there, but he's part of the crew hosting. Tomorrow's retro. It's at Tejas Brewery again. Let me see if I can share my screen and get the flyer up. But yeah, it was a blast last time, man. Would love to have y'all out. It's free. It's open to anyone and everyone, friends and family. Kids are allowed to be there until 8. The game's at 3:30. I'll probably be there early, like 2 or 2:30. There'll be a DJ this time for in between, halftime and commercials. Crenshaw and Kenna will be performing before kickoff. We're setting up a food drive as well. But yeah, I mean, just come hang out. Like for me, like this is all about basically, all of us being on a community here on Twitter and just getting together and putting face to name, and we interact all the time, so it's kind of awesome to meet each other and watch a team that we all love. So yeah, I mean, if you guys don't have plans, feel free to check it out. If you got any questions, just hit me up, but you can RSVP on my site, HoustonStressans.com. You don't have to RSVP, but that's just to kind of give us a head count to expect what's to come. So yeah, if y'all could do that, I would appreciate it. Would love to see y'all there. Let me go back and check IG. Jibbo the Kid says Spags will have a great game plan to limit Nico. In my opinion, we're going to need other to step up, and CJ got to play out of his mind. I agree, man. Spags is a great defensive coordinator. And yeah, I mean, it's like Belichick. Like they would always lock down the opposing number one receiver. So I agree with that. I would say Mechie needs to step up. I mean, I know we were all hard on him. I think he still can step up. I think he will step up. Robert Woods, somebody that has been overlooked all year, all season, myself included at times, but I still think he is a very viable / valuable receiver, especially in the slot. He may not be the fastest guy, but I don't think you need to be the fastest guy to be productive in the slot. I think his biggest attributes are that he is a smart, savvy veteran. He will be in the right place. He can read a defense. If there's a blitz, he knows when he's hot. Um, Tough contested catches, all that stuff. So I think he can, have an impact for us. Uh, Someone asked if Ain't No Check in Me says, is Aziz Alshire going to play? Yes, he is. So that's a big difference this time around, having him back and Foley Fadakasi. 281J says, yo, bro, what up, brother? Duharte says, I've been saying that to myself. We've been playing a little vanilla on purpose. Yeah, I hope that's the case, and I suspect that's the case. He also says, I can't wait for Saturday. Me either. Jacob Hart, for real, I don't know why, but I've had a hunch the Texans were saving their best ball for the playoffs, hiding it in a way so it can't be game planned against. I mean, so think about it, like from D'Amico's perspective, like with like almost 6-7 weeks, we basically had the division locked up, and then we did lock it up early, and we've basically been locked into a spot. Like the number one seed has been out of reach for a while. Like it would have been crazy for us to get there. And so like how much do you want to give away? So I do think that. I think he's a long-term guy. Ain't No Checking Me says, what's your YouTube? It's down on the bottom right here. YouTube is it's at Texans Commenter. It's the same for X and TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. I'm at Houston Stressans. I've been starting to repost this show and any other shows on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I'm on the same stuff there. And then I have my website as well. If you can't remember, I got this ticker going today. And then Manila says Texans versus refs. Yep. The refs were a major problem last game. That will definitely be a challenge. Let's get some overlay on here for the comments so y'all can get some love. There we go. Who did I miss up here? And then we got Austin. I think I got to that. Team MVP. He says, team MVP, I think, is Mixon. Texans need to tote that rock, and D'Amico is all for it. That's how we win. Yeah, dude. I mean, I think part of why fans have been frustrated is we haven't really fully understood / accepted the way D'Amico wants to win, which is what Austin is saying. We talk about them coming from the San Francisco tree, and it's like you have to remember, like when San Francisco had these good runs, it was with elite defense. It wasn't just good defense. It was all based off that. It was like, hey, defense is the shit. Offense, just get out of the way. That's basically what it is. Defense is the shit. Offense, just run the ball enough to kind of keep things going, get some points. We'll get you the ball back where you need it. And that's what we're doing right now. So, I mean, honestly, I'm confident in defense in this game. We just need offense, really, in my opinion, to play average. If they play above average, we for sure win. Don't turn the ball over. Let defense keep you in the game. I think they will. So I agree. Sideline Sarah says, shout out Sideline Sarah. If y'all don't follow her on Twitter, she's a great follow, does a great job. She says, I think she's talking about the plant. It started because Deontay was waived from the Ravens. We picked him up days before the Ravens. He was hugging on Lamar, Henry, and then after the game. Fast forward, we waived him. Ravens pick him up. Yeah, I mean, that could be, but I mean, he also didn't suit up for a game. So I mean, I don't know what to think about that. Bakari says, I'll make Murray shadow against Kelsey and let Bullock play free. Make them backers drop in zone. Some would spy Harris on Mahomes. Dude, I mean, I agree with a lot of that, bro. And we'll see here too when I go over the next gen stuff. It talked about Murray playing a lot of linebacker this last game. And when I saw that, I was like, we should have him on Kelsey. And I know people will get, worried about that, but he's actually really good when he's close to the line of scrimmage. He can be physical and aggressive, and I think he can do a good job. He may get beat here and there, but I like that idea. He should be up in his grill on Travis Kelsey. Sarah says, just a joke. saying he was telling Ravens our secrets for the Ravens game and Chargers. Yeah, I mean, oh, that's true. The Jim and John being brothers. Okay. I mean, it didn't work though. If that was the case, Austin says another truly sip. Please, love the content. I guess I'll have to do it. It's a USA version. Thanks for the love, bro. It gets worse and worse each sip. Engineer, seeing as Harbaugh how Harbaugh is banned from college football, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. Lego my ego. LFG Chiefs Kingdom. Must be nice, huh, dude? Third Coast native. Will Alshire play? Yes, sir. He will. I know he's been limited in practice, but I mean he's got to play. Brandon says need a graphic of Texans starting lineup this game versus the last Chiefs game. That's a good idea. Vastly different. John McClain, Christian Harris was held out most of the LA Chargers game. D'Amico said he's slow to recover. You think he's playing Saturday? Yeah, so I've been thinking about that. He played 7 snaps. I think part of it is maybe he's not 100% because he did miss the last game and he came off this crazy long hiatus, even though he played 3 or 4 games. But I think part of it might be too the game plan because we ran a lot of 5 down linemen and just the personnel and the style of the Chargers. I think we didn't need him as much. Herbert wasn't like a Mahomes or a Lamar or a Josh Allen where you needed to spy or anything like that. So I think it was a mix of the two, and it worked. So basically, we got to keep him healthy for this game. So I think he will play more, and I hope he will. And because he didn't seem like dejected, if he was Deontay Johnson, he would have quit. But I mean, think about that. Like, so that goes to show the kind of guy that Christian Harris is. We didn't hear anything from him about it. Engineer says, I think Aziz being out limited a lot of play calls. The mic, yeah, I mean. So on our defense, the last time we played the Chiefs, there was no Aziz. He was watching the game with me at our watch party, which was crazy. I literally talked to him for like the entire game, watching his team play. The starting linebacker of the Texans. It was fucking nuts. And he was cool as shit, dude. I mean, I was able to kind of like ask plays and stuff, but, fans were walking up to him constantly. He didn't turn down a single fan, like barely got to watch the game himself. Took photos with anyone who asked. Talked to everybody. He was awesome, but like it was just it was like I was a surreal moment that I was like watching the game with the starting linebacker of the Texans on the TV. But yes, engineer, you were correct, dude. I mean, he has the green dot. He's the captain of the defense. Y'all saw the mic'd up, and I believe it was the pick that Eric Murray had, where we had the pick 6. And so, I made a comment too that D'Amico's a mastermind play caller. And so my take on that is D'Amico puts in the game plan, and the linebacker, I think, in my opinion, has the ability to audible just like a quarterback has the ability to audible. And so I think a play call was called, but what I suspect was in that situation, D'Amico said, hey, if you see this formation or this set and this down and distance, then check to this play if you can. And I think that's what happened is Aziz has great football IQ, acknowledged what he was taught, called it, and basically they ran a inverted cover 2 where normally in a normal cover 2, your 2 safeties are the high safeties on the hashes, and then your corners are down in the flats. But basically the corners and the safeties switch. So the safety rolls down and the corner goes to safety and the safety goes to corner. And so when that happened, Murray came down the flats and Herbert sailed the throw. It got tipped, went right into Murray's hands and had a pick 6. So to engineer's point, we miss Aziz for that. I agree. And he says episode showed, yeah. So he basically says, hey, I saw the same thing you're talking about right now. I agree, dude. Engineer knows ball. Except when you're negative. I see you're in a better mood this week. I like it when you're more positive, man. I'm glad to see you're back on track. Lucas says interior offensive line is going to decide the game for the Texans. I agree, dude. And they've been looking up. Again, we'll see when I dive through, but Titus Howard has been balling at left guard, dude. He's playing better at left guard than he was at right tackle. And Juice Scruggs has been playing good, and Patterson's been playing good. Hopefully translates. I mean, that was a decent D line for at least the edges. I mean, the interior wasn't the best for the Chargers. And then last time we played the Chiefs, Titus Howard. The first time he played Chris Jones, he shut him down. A couple weeks ago when he played him, he shut him down. Titus Howard is good, dude. He's a good interior lineman. I think he is a better guard than tackle. I think next year we should keep Titus at left guard. I know there's like the drama, but like if I were him, I would stay there. Him and LT had that chemistry. And then now you got a second year of Fisher at right tackle. And then now, like going forward next year, which most of the year the interior line was like a massive void where we had to figure out, what to do in the offseason. But like now it's okay. Titus is a left guard. He's solid. Patterson, not bad, trending up. Juice could be something at right guard. So you could have gone from like, we need 3 interior alignment to maybe none, maybe 1, So I think it's looking up. And Ben says Texans definitely have the advantage this round. The mistakes made versus the Chiefs won't be duplicated. Yeah, I agree. And I will say this too. This may be a dumb take, but it also might be better for Bobby Slowick to have less weapons right now. Because I feel like a lot of the shit he was doing was too complicated. He tried to overcomplicate the shit out of stuff. And now it's like, all right, you got Nico Collins and whatever else. And so now it's like, all right, I'm going to scheme plays to get Nico open. Like it makes it a lot simpler for him. That could be something. Another point we haven't talked about is the rest versus rust for the Chiefs. They had a bye week and essentially another bye week the week before because they rested their starters in week 18. So they haven't played in a game for 2 weeks. I mean, it could be a slow start for them. We got John McClain says, what about Lassiter? Insight on Kelsey some. I like that too. I mean, what has me so excited is like we have so many options, dude. I mean, I was for one surprised that Miles Bryant played majority of nickel on Lad McConkey, and it somewhat worked out. I know he had crazy stats, but I don't think all of those were on Miles Bryant. And then obviously we had the one big play we talked about, kind of inflated the 86-yard play. I think we'll see a mix of Miles Bryant. I like Lassiter. So the other thing about last time we played them, the refs for one, I mean, we all know they were fucking dog shit, dude. I mean, every call they made against us was like an impactful play. The fumble 6, called back, not a fumble, and then called a roughing the passer on top of that when he wasn't a passer, he was a fumbler. Every time we got a big sack, they called a penalty. It was just everything, was a massive play call. Anyway, so I forgot where I was going. Last time we played them, yes. So the refs, dog shit, whatever. We'll forget that. Injuries. The Tank Dell injury was huge, but so was the Jimmy Ward injury. That was just as significant, if not more. I think we're good now that we've had time to kind of like get our game plan going without him, like kind of change things up. But in that moment, like we had no backup plan. It was, okay, Lassiter, you got to play slot. But what did that mean? Jeff Okudah, you're playing cornerback too. You're guarding DeAndre Hopkins. And from that moment, that's when we kind of got shredded on the outside, in my opinion. That was a big thing for me. And then, yeah, like I said, the Tank injury, again, it goes back to, I think that injury sucks and we're not as good because of it, but we've had time to get our game plan going forward. You saw our offense without Tank when we had time to plan. We can still make things shake. I think on offense too, once Tank went down, like I felt like that was a game to where, their defense dictated that position, the Z, the other outside receiver, would get involved a lot. And I honestly think it was like a concerted effort by Bobby in the game plan to call a lot of plays where that was the number one read, Z, which was Tank. And then when Tank went down, whoever it was that came in, I forget, for Tank, it was, I can't remember who it was, Mechie or it was Woods or whoever it was, and now you're running all these plays that you had game planned for Tank, but now it's for another receiver who's not Tank, and it didn't work. I feel like that's something that happened. Like you got to adjust, but it's also like those 2 injuries had a massive impact on the game, and we still almost had a chance. We had a chance to win. Ben says, I think team culture plays a bigger part in winning than overall talent does. I noticed that the Texans simply play better when they are visibly having fun. I agree 100%. NFL, think about all of the athletes in the NFL. There's so much talent in the NFL that you have people that win the Heisman that are the best players in college football that don't even make the NFL. So what does that tell you? That means everybody's fucking good. All the players are good. So I mean, it's going to be really hard to have a team with talent that's that much better than the other team because everyone is good. So if you go with that line of thinking, this is the way I think. What's the big differentiator? Coaching. And so it can be X's and O's scheme, but to your point, it's culture. I mean, so part of that is okay, everyone has good athletes. How can I get 110% out of these guys? Whereas some coaches get 60%. So now there is a talent gap because of the motivation to play. So that is a great point. I agree 1,000%. Uh, Engineer, bro, you can't blame me for being negative. Yeah, I know. I'm just messing with you, bro. I'm glad you're back, though. Lucas, Blake Fisher was drafted for a reason. I agree. Engineer, I agree. We need Colson Loveland to help the O line. El Cadet says, what's up, brother? Thanks for tuning in, my guy. Brandon Hallman, still think this interior line would look different if they had signed Robert Hunt at right guard last season. I agree. We definitely need a veteran in the offseason. I would like that. Engineer, I remember watching an episode of QB School where he was talking about how the play design was so beautiful. I think Slowick is an awesome play designer, but his play calling is so out of touch. Yeah, and for me, the biggest thing is it's like fitting, a square peg into a round hole. Like we had this scheme. He has a scheme that's great, but we don't have the personnel to fit it. And so rather than like adapt in the time being, he's like trying to still make it work. But it's like, all right, dude, like the O line isn't what you want it to be. The run game, passing. So like you got to kind of get creative. That would be my big gripe. Like the play calling and the designs aren't terrible. It's just adapting. That's the big word for me is adapt or adjust. There hasn't been a lot of that. But it looks like as of late, there has been. JJ Sugar says that roughing the passer Mahomes still tilts me. Bro, I get nightmares about it. El Cadet looking forward towards the defense again. I can't wait, dude. Engineer, we need to pick up some strong wide receivers next year. We need someone that is durable. All of our starting wide receivers are so susceptible to injuries. Yep. Lucas Hutchinson is going to be big this week, I believe. I would love to see that. Brandon, need to focus on snapping the ball sooner this game. Yep. And that's because the crowd noise will be a huge factor. It'll be cold, loud. You cannot get to line of scrimmage late and freak out. You need to get there early, diagnose the defense. Jibbo the kid says one thing to keep in mind is O-line got to stay composed in Arrowhead. That atmosphere noise is going to be different. Exactly. We just said that. I agree, bro. S. Diaz says, we will win this game. Less wide receiver screens, control the clock with RBs, and CJ needs to utilize his legs again. Yeah, I agree with a lot of that. Yep. And let's see here. And the officiating crew is my biggest concern after self meltdowns on offense. Chiefs, they are 6-0 with that crew. Yeah, that's by G on X. He also says that Aziz is going to be targeted by the Zebras. I hope not. But yeah, that's the thing about too is last game Mahomes was able to use his legs, but Aziz was not in the middle. I mean, all that cheap sliding shit, Aziz don't play that, bro. Brandon, 49ers fans have their own opinion of Slowick. Yep. And then Austin says, is this defense good enough to win a Super Bowl with no Tank and no Steph? I think so. I agree. I've been saying it all year, and I will say it again. This is a Super Bowl caliber defense without a doubt in my mind. And D'Amico Ryans is the best defensive game planner in the league. He is elite, bro. He's so good. Lucas, what would you make Blessing this week early opinion? I'm not sure what that means if you want to ask me, if you want to clarify. JJ Sugar, we should definitely draft a talented wide receiver in next draft. In unfortunate circumstance, Tank not being back. Yeah, he'll probably be out for most of the year. Now, I agree. I mean, I think we should get a young, talented receiver that are plug and play. They're pro ready. All right, I'm going to get a couple more TikTok, and then we'll dive in to the stats stuff for the Chiefs game. Shout out Marcus Wiley on TikTok. And then he's asking for the score. I'll say it soon. It's crazy that we don't think we have a chance to win it all, that they think we don't. Yeah, it's because the media doesn't follow us, dude. Toscano says that's crazy. Texans keeping D-Hop for real. Going to first AFC, LOL. Tejano's TV says Aziz Alshire needs to get his hands on Mahomes and Kelsey or Hawkins. Yep. And then Lucas on TikTok says, what moves do you see the Texans making for wide receiver this offseason? I'm not sure yet. It depends on how it shakes out. But I forgot to tell you, I'm wearing my CJ Stroud Hope shirt. I can check it out on HoustonStressans.com. But yeah, let me get into. Let's go to PFF real quick and the grades. Nico balled out. Tunsil did good. Patterson did pretty good. Woods did pretty good. Mixon did pretty good. And PFF again, take it or leave it. They got Stroud doing bad. That's dog shit. Yeah, whatever. Let's go to defense. I'd even put on the screen. My bad, guys. PFF. And they got, it checks out on defense. Stingley, elite. Danico Autry, elite. Lassiter, elite. Will Anderson Jr., elite. Foley did great. Hunter did good. Murray did good. Barnett did pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty good all around. But let's get into my favorite part, which is going through this stuff right here. I'm drink a little bit of this Truly here. Cheers. All right. Sorry for the dead air for the podcast if you're listening. I had a little bit of cotton mouth there. At a glance, the points per game, Texans 21.9, Chiefs 22.6. So we're 19th, they're 15th. Our offenses are basically the same. As bad as we've been, they've been just as bad. As bad as CJ has been, they've been just as bad. I got asked to zoom in. I will zoom in. He said it's blurry for us because it's so tiny. That's what she said. Let me see. Yeah, y'all don't need to see my face. So let me take this off. And then, so it's the wrong screen that I'm zooming in on. Let me see. How's that? That looks better, huh? And let me get a couple comments. And then Lucas, what would you pull us from Stressan to Blessing this week? What you looking for? Yeah, I'll go into some keys as we go through this. Joe hates Jim Crane. That shirt is nice. Definitely buy one. Appreciate you, bro. I'll probably do some Astros merch too when that gets kicked off. Ben says Nick Wright said this was the Chiefs' last practice. What happens if the Texans upset the Chiefs? Yeah, I like to call him Nick Wrong. He's talking big shit. JJ says much better. All right, I got you, bro. But all right, 1 sec. I need a drink. And so for point differential, we were 0. This obviously does not include playoffs. But sorry. And they were plus 59. So we were 16th, they were 11th. So we're not far off. Record in close games. This is the difference. We were 7-5. So we had 12 close games. We were only 2 games over 500 in close games. They had 11 close games and were undefeated. And we saw that shit all year. It's, they got this call. They got that call. They got, this, whatever. So, you would assume there's going to be, there is an element of good teams know how to win these close games, but they also got some breaks. So you also wonder too, will there be a regression to the mean? Are they overinflated? Are they really that good? What we should do is first, to prove my point, is go into their schedule real quick. This show might go for a little while. I'm sorry, boys. It's playoffs. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm pumped up. But here, let's check out the Chiefs schedule. This is kind of whenever I go through a game, if I like to bet on a game or evaluate for the Texans, I like to first like go to their schedule, the other team's schedule, and then I like to look at uh, like overall stats, like team offense, team defense, total yards, rushing, passing, and then points per game to kind of get a gauge. Because I think a lot of it is how teams match up. Um, I do think that like it's matchups like how does this team's rush defense go against this team's rushing offense, and passing versus passing, and vice versa on both sides. And it's pretty accurate when you have a large sample size, like 18 weeks, like whatever your unit is, rushing or passing, that's kind of what you are. I mean, you can be trending in a certain direction, so you got to kind of be cautious of that. So I do kind of like put more weight in on the schedule, like the last 4 or 5 games, like how are they playing lately? But matchups in the NFL are key, man. I mean, we know it. Like games that we lost this year with a shitty interior O line at times, we lost to shitty teams, but they had awesome interior D lines. It was just a one bad matchup caused the whole game, Anyhow, enough for that tangent. I will zoom in on this a little bit, but to kind of go through, like, we won't go through, the first half of the year. That's a long ways away. But the last week of the season, they basically rested all their starters against Denver. But on Christmas Day, they beat the Steelers. Great. Steelers suck ass. So, I mean, I feel like the public overweight. This is an impressive victory, but we act like the Steelers just suck. And then they played us. The refs were terrible. They won by one possession. We had two massive injuries mid-game and still within one score. And then the week before, they beat the Browns. Whatever. And honestly, I think this game was closer than what it was for most of the game. They scored late to make it look worse. They kind of had a ho-hum game against the Browns. And the Chargers, they won by a field goal that hit the upright to win. It was an impressive drive, but it was a close game. A team that we just beat their absolute ass, they barely beat. So, I mean, hey, like, it's not to say that we're going to win, but, like, it should say that, like, we shouldn't be a freaking 9-point underdog. Like, it's the NFL, bro. They are way overrating the Chiefs, in my opinion. Raiders, they won 19-7. This was another game where they had that BS call at the last second that was they were offsides or something, and then it wasn't. I forgot what it was. It was some fluky shit, and they called it dead. Anyways, at home against the Raiders when you're going for the number 1 seed. And so this is the stretch I'm looking at. I'll go up this way, and then I'll go back down and show you, like, this is like this last main stretch of football they've played has not been impressive. The Panthers, dog shit team who was playing better, barely won that game. Got lucky to win it. Again, they won it, but still. And then they lost at Buffalo, a team we beat. They got beat by Buffalo. Denver, they barely won against Denver, a dog shit team. I mean, they're not dog shit. They're a good team, but they're not elite. And then week before, Tampa Bay, pretty good team, but not elite. Was lucky to win in overtime on that one. That was another crazy game where it could have easily been lost. So not a super impressive game there. And then the week before against the Raiders, you won by one score. So they had one score against the Raiders, overtime, controversial one against the Bucks, 2.1 against the Broncos, lost to the Bills, beat the Panthers by 3, a team you were losing to most of the game, beat the Raiders by 2. The Raiders by 2. And then beat the Chargers by 2, a team that we just beat their ass. The Browns, it was basically a 7 to 10 point game. It was a score late against us. We capped that, and then they beat the Steelers. I mean, womp womp, like big whoop. So I mean, you look at that, it's like this is not a 15-2 Goliath unbeatable team. Like this is a beatable team. I say all that to point that out. So that's what that is. I'm not trying to be cocky. I'm just saying, like, hey, like it's not. Like I look at that and I feel better about it, And we'll go back to, I think next we should do, I'm going all over the place. Let me go back to here. Let me hit a couple comments. Let's see if I miss some up here. We got, H-Town Smoker. Nice name, dude. If Texans upset the Chiefs, Nick Wright and Stephen A. gonna eat crow. Texans swarm, LFG. Yeah, man. F them. If they ain't with Houston. Water says you see the injury report. Yes, I did. Brandon says all the narrative changes if Texans win are crazy. Yeah, it's going to be crazy. It's going to go from this is an elite defense. Like, yeah, we've been telling y'all people like about this the whole time. That's what it's going to be. It's like, oh, this is an elite defense. Like, yeah, we've been trying to tell y'all, dude. JJ Sugar. Unfortunately, even if we blow out the Chiefs, we'll still be underdogs no matter what. And there will be all the excuses in the world for why the Chiefs lost instead of us winning. I mean, I could see that, but like it's like a love hate for me, like being these overlooked underdogs. Um, I kind of like that. People kind of think we're a cakewalk and we're not. Lucas says this show is for the boys, though. Facts. Cheers. Alex Roman. How's it going? Going good, bro. Thanks for tuning in. Ben, 9-point underdog equals easy money. Facts, dude. I've already bet the spread. I bet the money line too. Alberto, not gonna lie, we have a chance against any team not named the Ravens. I mean, we got a chance against them, but like obviously that would be my least favorite team to match up against. But like I mentioned earlier, I feel like our performance against them on Christmas Day was not indicative of what would happen in a rematch. You know, just because you lose to a team earlier doesn't mean it's going to be the same thing. And then Brandon says Buck should have gone for 2 against them. Yep. And then Engineer, their 38-0 loss still doesn't sit well with me. I know they sat their starters in that game, but 38-0. Yeah, that's true, man. I mean, they probably played some starters like O-line or whatever else, but yeah. Was it Carson Wentz? He looked like absolute dog shit. But yeah, so on the back to at a glance, the close games. So I saw that, dove into it. We were 7-5, they were 11-0. Average margin of victory, ours is 8.2, theirs is 7.1. So we're 23rd, they're 27th. Turnover differential, we are +9, which is 7th. Again, this is all regular season. And they are +6, which is 10th. So we're pretty similar teams, honestly, if you look at this glance, except for total penalties, which was the same against the Chargers. We are terrible, 119, which is 26th. They have 94, which is 4th. Sorry for burping. But yeah, the current odds are +8.5, over under 41.5, +340 on the money line. But let's look at some key advantages. I think I need to. I would do like that. So overall, they have an advantage of us rushing out of shotgun. They got a good rushing defense. Ours isn't great, obviously. They got an advantage on defense versus our deep passing. They have an advantage on defense versus our passing versus the blitz. They have an advantage on defense versus us rushing versus a light box, which, you know, I think our run game has improved. I think some of those numbers are inflated because we've had no mix-in and shuffling O-line. But we have an advantage on intermediate passing. We are number 3. They are number 14 on defense. Their key advantages will be QB scrambles. They are number 2 on offense. We are 27th. So yes, that is very true. That's a huge key to the game, like we said. Deep passing, we have an advantage. They're 30th in the league in deep passing. We're number 8. Design runs, we have an advantage. They are number 18. We're number 1 on defense on stopping design runs. Rushing under center, they're 22nd. We're number 3. And then rushing versus stacked box, they're number 8, and we're number 30. So they got an advantage there. So run game seems to be nice for us. Go to passing. Let me zoom out a little bit for you guys so we can see more of that. And we got, one sec, got a little cotton mouth. But yeah, so we saw some of that. So yeah, their passing is, I'm sorry, looking at our offense. Our passing hasn't been great, deep passing, but really good at intermediate passing and passing versus no blitz. We got an advantage there. But just looking at this overall view on passing, you know, they have, I mean, just look at this here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 advantages, and we have 2 as far as our offense versus their defense. And then there's 1, 2, 3 non-advantages. And then a majority of their advantages are 1-stars and one's a 2-star. They only have 2 5-star advantages. On the flip side, their offense, so they have a slight advantage against our passing offense. Our defense against their passing offense has advantages across the board in every category. And then the one that we don't, it's a no advantage. It's quick passing. They're number one. We're number one on defending it. So we can stop their passing much better than they can stop our passing. That checks out. I mean, across the board, I mean, deep passing, they got nothing. And then the other ones, play action, long passing, overall passing efficiency, passing versus pressure, we got like above average advantage. And then when, passing versus no blitz versus blitz, passing versus play action, we have a slight a average advantage. And then intermediate passing, short passing, no pressure passing, we have a very slight advantage. For rushing, we'll look at it this way too. Um, so so on offense for passing, our defense will stop their passing way more than their defense will stop our passing. Like a pretty decisive disparity or a gap right there. Overall, before I even dive into this, like overall, just looking at the colors, they have a slight advantage as far as their defense stopping our run as opposed to our defense stopping their run. So we have an advantage in passing game, and we have a pretty good advantage in the passing game on both sides, and they have a slight advantage in the run on both sides. So I mean, overall, it looks like from these metrics, we have an advantage. So again, 8.5 points. Like, what are we talking about, dude? But yeah, I mean, yeah, and then I would argue too, like the optimistic side is, and they could say the same thing, but I do feel like a lot of the stuff, like the rushing that they have an advantage on against us, is because Mixon's been out throughout the year, and our line's been shuffling a lot, so I definitely think that's part of it. But yeah, that's good enough on that. We'll get into my favorite part, which is the key insights. But before that, I will hit up some comments. And let's see. This is always, it's an hour and a half in. I basically talk a million miles an hour the entire time. So it's always tough. Get cotton mouth, get short winded. I'm out of shape. It's hard to breathe. But, F it, we ride. Let's see. Raul says, need takeaways would be huge. Facts, I agree. JJ Sugar, Ravens have our number all 3 games against them going back. They do, but I mean, this defense gives me confidence, and I really thought we could have won that divisional game last year, honestly. Brandon, Bills could win. That's true. John says, CJ Mahomes, similar numbers too. I agree, dude. That's what I'm saying. We're very similar teams. Yeah, we're very similar teams, dude. I mean, offense is underwhelming. Quarterbacks that are good playing not as good. Defenses are great, but we have a better defense, but theirs is still good. I mean, similar teams, dude. Playing a lot of close games. JJ Sugar, I hope so. Brandon, I feel like the Ravens will win that matchup versus the Bills. And Ben, I just hope our run game doesn't look like Mixon is running into 3 Texans linemen. What's the percentages of Mixon and zone scheme versus gap scheme? I can pull that up. I was kind of keeping an eye on that. He definitely runs more zone versus gap, and it kind of changes week to week based off the opponent. But there has been times throughout the year where Bobby will start to run more gap than zone, and I've been wanting him to do that because 1, it obviously works, and 2, it works in my opinion because, like I mentioned earlier, the personnel for our O-line is better suited for gap than it is zone. We have bigger, bulkier, bully type linemen as opposed to get out in space and zone blocking. But I guess you could argue, if you're a bigger guy, you can't pull. But yeah, maybe I just own myself there. Alberto says, seems like they won't change the O-line from past couple games without Shaq. They've been playing decent. Can only hope they continue to play better. I agree. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Leave it the hell alone. They've been playing great. Sorry, Shaq, but in that situation, it was an addition by subtraction. Shaq's just regressed from age, I guess. Brandon, I still want to see. Oh, and my buddy told me this on the way to the Texans game. This was a great ass point, and he said maybe Juice Scruggs plays better at right guard because he's used to playing center, and his right hand was on the ground. I'm assuming that's correct. And so now he's on right guard, and now his right hand's back on the ground again. That was like, oh shit, that's like, you could be right about that. Um, Assuming he would snap the ball with his left hand, I don't know. Braden says, I still want to see a couple early Pierce runs to bang up their defenders. He makes some people regret tackling him. Yeah, and he got more carries last game than we'd seen in a while, so that was nice. Pretty effective carries. Engineer, if Stroud comes out the way he came out the first half against them during the regular season, we win. He was dealing before Tank's injury. Yeah, he was, dude. He had a great game. I mean, there's 2 picks, obviously, but he was throwing the ball, man. And as we go through these keys, through these insights, my key is going to be pass to open the run is one of them. And just like we did against the Chargers, quick passing, take advantage, all that good stuff. My boy Austin trying to get me drunk, dude. He says, truly sip. No Steph, no Tank. What do you think? We good, man. We good. We ride. I said it earlier. I think it makes Bobby condense this offense finally. But yeah, I'll get into these keys right here, or these insights. Eric Murray, aligned as a linebacker. I need to keep that on. As I said earlier, on a career high, 21.6% of snaps this season. He averaged 8 yards of depth from the line of scrimmage on all plays, but he aligned much closer when in man coverage, 4 yards, than in zone coverage, 10 yards. I'm just rounding, by the way. His plus 0.5 yard differential in depth by coverage is the largest difference by any defender this season. So this goes to someone's point earlier about, hey, we should have Murray guard Kelsey. I agree. That's basically what he was doing here in this game, from where he was playing. And I'll try not to mumble through these. There's a lot of them, so I'm going to kind of murmur a little bit to see which ones are relevant. I read through this earlier to kind of note which ones I thought would be good for us to talk about. But let's see. Chiefs offense versus Texans defense. Yeah, so this is a big one. The Chiefs got the 3rd most yak this season. And then basically on the flip side, the Texans allowed the most yak per reception. So that's a big key. This offense, it's freaking gimmicks. It's like screens, and it's a lot of screens. I mean, we saw it against our first game. They tore us up with screens. So tackling, they run a lot of pick plays. They basically just game you and outsmart you. So a big key is tackling. And then another big key so tackling for screens, getting off blocks, IDing, reading the play, acknowledging when it's a screen. And then pick plays would be being in the right position, fighting through I guess not defenders, but receivers. They're going to motion. They're going to try and get mismatches. They're going to try and get a running back on a linebacker or a receiver on a linebacker, or what, they're going to, try and motion and get you into positions and get these cheap plays. That's what they do. Like, they're not going to blow you away with athletic ability. They're going to win with little cheap plays here and there. And they did it against us in the first game. It was, all these BS little plays and this like little death by 1,000 cuts, especially in the red zone. But we move on. We got this is Texans defense. Texans were effective. So yeah, this is another key that basically highlights how we got an advantage in the run game. Texans were effective defending rushes inside the tackles, holding opponents to 4 yards per carry, and minus 87 yards rushing over expected, which is the fewest on inside runs this season. And then as far as the matchup goes, the Chiefs rushed between the tackles on 52% of their run plays this season, 9th highest. So this is awesome for us. The Chiefs love to run the ball at the middle. They do it. 52% of the run plays are right out the gut. And guess what? We're one of the best at stopping it. And now we got Foley back. That bodes very well for us. I mean, stop the run, we good. And then they got Pacheco back, I believe. And this was another thing I saw about the run game that I think is in our favor is they gained 10 or more yards rushing on only 5% of design runs this year, the lowest in the NFL. So basically, I talked about the speed, but like basically they're not explosive in the run game. It's just dink. It's just methodical chip away type BS. So I mean, and really, their offense is all revolved around Mahomes extending the play. Honestly, like their offense is wide receiver screens with Andy Reid, him scheming guys open with motion and pick plays, and then Mahomes just creating magic. That's what it is. There's nothing like it's just so you have to be disciplined, tackle, be in the right place, assignments, all that stuff. Which last time Noah Z's maybe weren't getting lined up the best. Um, the more I go through this, the more confident I feel. Texans defense, it says we use nickel on 80% of snaps this season, second highest in the league. So we ran a 4-2, which basically Peachy was our nickel, but he was basically a hybrid linebacker, so that can be misleading. Chiefs, prior to week 18, it says they used multiple tight ends, 50+%. No surprise, Noah Gray and Travis Kelce. That's the highest rate in the league. So I feel like we saw a lot of 12 personnel against the Chargers, so we could see a lot of the same counters we saw against the Chargers against the Chiefs. Kamari and Stingley, it talks about them being locked down, 43% and 47%. 43 for Kamari, 47 for Stingley was the lowest and second lowest completion percentages, which is insane. So we got the two best corners in the league. Yep, we all know that. Marquise Brown, he played 2 games for the Chiefs in week 16, 17 after returning from injury. He had 9 receptions for 91 yards, and we are not scared of you. Sorry, bro. I hope I don't regret saying that. Texans offense, Chiefs defense. Texans converted on just 49% of their red zone trips, 7th lowest mark this season. That is how it was last year. To start the year, we were actually really good at the red zone, and then we just fell off a cliff and we're terrible. And then it says within the red zone, Stroud averaged 3.21 seconds time to throw, which is the 3rd longest, but it also contributed to a 43% pressure rate, which is 5th highest. And it says that on the flip side, the Chiefs defense allowed the 8th lowest red zone conversion rate, and they also generated pressure at 38% in the red zone, the 9th highest. Compared to 31 outside the red zone. So the Chiefs defense gets a lot more pressure in the red zone. The Texans offense is not great in the red zone. The Chiefs defense is great in the red zone. So this is a key. And it sounds like the way I interpret this is one of the reasons why the Texans offense is not good in the red zone when it comes to passing is because it sounds like Stroud is 1, holding on to the ball too long, 2, it could be because he's getting pressured. So then he does roll out of the pocket too soon, holding onto the ball longer. You got to be able to run the ball. We got to have some good plays schemed up. No trick play bullshit. So when it worst comes to worst, run it. And then let me get some comments. Matt Brown, Chiefs fan here. He said, "This is awesome, man. This is cool. Normally, I don't get a lot of opposing fans. I like it. I encourage it. But I've read 2 words of this, and I've realized already that Matt Brown is a cool fan." He says, "Chiefs fan here. Admittedly, the Texans are getting no love, and they should be. The playoffs are always different. I think the Chiefs win, but it's not as sure thing as the talking heads make it seem." I can respect that, bro. I agree. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying the Texans are going to win for sure and kick their ass. I think it's a close game. We have a chance to win. I'll give my prediction, but I agree, man. I mean, we saw it against the Chargers, right? Like and part of my theory is that going into the season, the expectations were way too high, and then and then we struggled. So then now they overcorrected. Like the whole time we've been right here. So we thought we were here, and then we suck. So then now they think we're here. I'm like, oh shit, like we're actually right here. That's where we're probably there, maybe rising up a little bit. Austin says, "My bad." Now you're good, bro. Ben, thoughts on Frank Ross? Is he a head coach in the near future? I mean, I don't know. I know it like this from the personal makeup, like between enthusiasm, game planning, all that stuff. I guess, as a head coach, you're really just a leader of men and you hire a good coordinator. So he could be. Petro says, I would like to point out that KC played the Chargers twice. They only won by 7 and 3. Pressure was constantly in Mahomes' face in those games, and that was without Bosa. That is a great thing to point out. I agree. And that's kind of what I laid out when I went to the schedule. So, showing that the Chiefs should not be a 8.5 point favorite. Ben, so what I'm hearing is that tackling is the biggest key to the game Saturday. Limit yards after the catch and yards after contact. That's what I am gathering so far as one of my biggest keys on defense. Yes. Noah Kirby, is it odd? It was more worried about the last game than this game. Maybe not, dude. I mean, maybe not. We got let's see. Old Beer Belly. Shout out Beer Belly. Check him out on social media, guys. You coming to the game with me? I'm not. I'm having a watch party, but if we win, I will be in Buffalo or Baltimore. JJ Sugar, Steph was our guy for red zones. Unfortunately, because as soon as he went out, our red zone production plummeted. That is a great, great point because we did start out great. I mean, you saw it week 1 against the Colts. He was running, he caught a couple 1-yard touchdowns, it felt like. So great point right there. I agree. So that just means Bobby has to get more creative. Or you know what? Stroud can start running the ball in the red zone. How does that sound? So we hit the red zone note there. Mahomes and Worthy. Let's see. Patrick Mahomes completed 74 downfield passes, which are 10-plus air yards for 1,500 yards, which averaging 10 yards per attempt, which were all career lows. So, I mean, they've had a depleted wide receiver room all year. Once Rashee Rice went down, things kind of went south. But, basically, this is what I said. They're not a home run explosive offense. It's just methodically dink and dunk, scheming BS all up and down the field, which is actually conducive, though, for playoffs, ball control, clock management, all that stuff, bleeding the clock. And then it says Xavier Worthy caught 6 of 31 downfield targets this season, 19.4% catch rate, the lowest in the NFL. Damn. So Worthy's supposed to be the speedster deep threat, and you don't ever catch the ball. Whether that's his fault or Mahomes can't hit him or he's not open, that's crazy. So he's been highly ineffective. They got him to stretch the field, and he has not done that. It talks about the Texans having used motion on 69.5% nice of their offensive plays this season, which is ninth highest. And then it also says that they use condensed formations on 56% of their plays, third highest. No shit. No way. Yeah, we all knew that. And it says the other two teams that are higher than us, Rams and Niners. Go figure. Shanahan tree. And then it says, additionally, we recorded a 24.5% bunch formation rate this season, the highest since the 2019 Rams. So that's pretty crazy. So we like to go tight and bunch, which is a blessing and a curse because you invite defenders into the box and then people nickel blitz us and destroy us. Travis Kelce and Xavier Worthy. So this stat here basically says that their two leading target share guys are Kelce with 24%, and it's the fourth lowest by any team leader. And then it says Worthy has 17%. He's the highest wide receiver. And so basically it says, they don't have one true guy. They basically just spread the ball around to a bunch of average Joes. I mean, Kelce's not average Joe, but when Rashee Rice went down, they haven't had that Nico Collins where they can just force feed him the ball. They just have to spread it around, which can be good and bad. I think it's a good thing for us. And then it talks about the Texans using a lot of 12 personnel, which is 2 tight ends, 5th highest rate. It also says 2-back formations. It talks about Cade Stover playing fullback, which he's hurt. That's going to be tough for us. But anyways, we run a lot of 12 personnel, and then it says the Chiefs match 12 personnel with dime personnel on 12% of the plays, which is the 2nd highest rate. So we could get into 12 personnel, get them in a nickel or dime package, maybe get some mismatches running the ball or a tight end on a nickel back. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. And then it talks about, this is key right here, Chiefs offense, 51% success rate on third downs, 3rd highest. This is one of those where it's like something's got to give. Mahomes completed 65% of his passes on third down, which is third highest, and generated a league-leading 87 first downs on third down passes or scrambles. So Mahomes is just a gamer. He figures that shit out. They're great on third down, but Texans defense, we only allowed 38% success rate, third lowest. So third highest success rate on offense for Chiefs, third lowest for Texans on defense. Something's got to give. Let's go Texans D. I got faith in D'Amico. That'll be a good battle. Mahomes is just a gamer, dude. And then it talks about Mixon getting contacted behind the line of scrimmage, second highest rate. We know that. And then let's see what else it says about it. Sixth most yards after contact and second most touchdowns among running backs on outside carries. So our inside running sucks. Outside carries are good. That's basically stuff we know. And then it talks about Mahomes. He's completed 52.8% of his passes outside the pocket in his last 6 postseasons, which is the third highest. And he has 14 touchdowns. He's also rushed for 517 yards on scrambles, over 150 more than anyone else. So basically it says in the playoffs, Mahomes scrambles all the time. And with that, he runs the ball and he gets out of the pocket. So keys, contain Mahomes. And then D'Amico's talked about this on his interviews. Even while he scrambles, you need to stay sticky in coverage for a long time. You can't just give up on the play. You have to stick with it because he'll scramble and run. And normally when he scrambles and runs, he might go up through the middle. Or when he scrambles and runs to the outside, you got to stick on your receiver. It's tough, man. It's going to be, do you come off the defender? Does a defender come off the receiver and play the run from Mahomes and then he hits you with the pass? So it's like a pick your poison, but you stop that by keeping him in the pocket and then the interior not letting him rush up the middle as well. Or you just freaking get there and sack him. Sorry, I had a little truly sip. Got a couple more ounces left. I can't believe I drank this shit, dude. 0 sugar Gatorade, Mountain Dew, and Truly. Dr. Dew is a madman. CJ Stroud, they've allowed the 6th quickest average time to pressure. And it says it happened on like almost 20% of his dropbacks, third highest. And it says that when Stroud's forced to hold the ball, he's thrown 9 of 12 interceptions on those times. When he's held it over 2.5 seconds. And then it says in the wild card round, Texans allowed quick pressure rate at 18, basically the same rate. So it felt like the O-line was better, but it's basically the same, even though it looked better. And he fared a little bit better on those quick pressures. He was 9 of 16 for 161 and an interception. So, same old shit. Trent McDuffie, he's good. Lined up at less than 3 yards from opposing receiver on league-leading 63% of snaps this season, second highest. So basically, McDuffie likes to press. And then Nico Collins, which is a matchup. He caught 29 passes as an isolated receiver, so that's backside of a 3-by-1 set for 545 yards, 127 more than any other player, plus 164 receiving yards over expected on those targets. And that was second most in the NFL behind Jamar Chase. He caught all 3 of his touchdowns from ISO alignments on in-breaking routes and posted another ISO touchdown on an in-breaker in the wildcard round. So if and when we see a 3-by-1 set where you have 2 receivers, probably 2 receivers and a tight end to one side, and Nico's backside by himself one-on-one, he will more than likely run inside and he will win. He'll either run a slant or a dig. So look out for that. That's kind of our bread and butter is what it sounds like. And we got, someone says Pacheco is playing. And then let me get a couple of these here. H-Town Smoker. If we win these 3 keys, I believe we'll win the game. Red zone, yep. Scoring / turnover battle, yep. Time of possession, yeah. I agree. JJ Sugar, condensed formations make me cringe. Likewise, blessing and a curse, man. And the bunch formations. Yeah, we just see it so damn much. Ben Pacheco, is he playing? Yes. Yeah, he said yes after that. Ben, dang, he's a big producer of their offense. But yeah, they said earlier that he doesn't really get explosive runs. So it's got to tackle him, man. He's an angry runner. JJ says, how nice would it be if our backs were keeping an eye out for the little shovel pass Mahomes has been known for throwing and pick it off once? That would be sick, bro. That would be sick. To the house, Ben, that clip would play for years. I agree, dude. Petro, I just can't stop thinking about how the weakness of the Chiefs is their offensive line, while our main strength is our D line. Yeah, we're about to see some here that y'all like to see. So yeah, we had McDuffie. He likes to press a lot. Nico wins one-on-ones backside. So we could see that matchup. I will take Nico all day. The Chiefs defense, they align their corners and press, which is less than 3 yards from the line of scrimmage, over 50%. Yeah, and they've led the league in that rate for 5 of the last 6 seasons under Spag. So they run a lot of man. I should have pointed out, I have a tweet put up, but their highest coverage rates. Let me see if I can pull it up. It's on my bookmarks. Let's see. But yeah, so basically, the Chiefs like to press a lot, and I'll just read it to you guys. This is a chart, or I can show it here. Share this tab instead. Let me click on this graph. So these are the coverage rates weeks 1 through 19 for defenses. The Chiefs' highest coverage that they run is cover 1, which is man, which makes sense why they're in press. You press cover 1 man press against Nico. Come on, bro. You can throw a go, you can throw a slant, but they can disrupt timing. So for that, if they do that, those bunch formations, condensed formations, pick plays, drag routes, those would all work great. Their second most used coverage is cover 4 at 19.5%. And then after that, it's cover 2 and cover 3. So they do a pretty good job of, Spags is a good job of kind of not having any heavy tendencies. So he's going to throw a mixed bag at you, but regardless, they will press you a lot is what it says. So back to the insights. We are almost done. Thanks for hanging in. Almost 2 hours. Playoffs, biggest game of the year. Last game of the year. Can't hold anything back now. We know, Cotton. What do we got? Eric, I kicked me back to the beginning. Okay, let me scroll down a couple times. We know. Let's see. CJ Stroud. That's pretty cool. Chiefs. Okay, yeah, the next one. CJ Stroud threw for 699 yards. Nice. On passes outside of the pocket this season, third most in the NFL. So we've read this before. Basically, past 2 years, he's done that the most, only behind Allen and Lamar. So he's pretty good at extending the play out of the pocket. This one talks about George Karlaftis, how early in the year he wasn't playing good, but his last 4 games he's turned it up, where he's had 20 total pressure since week 14, which is 6th most. So got to contain him. Him on Blake Fisher could be troublesome, but I have no issue with him on Laramie Tunsil. Let's see. I got a comment from Ben. Ben says, this is my first time joining in on your stream, and I have to say I enjoy the analysis you bring. I appreciate it, man. I post a lot of content, but I like the X's and O's truly. I like it all, but I am probably too thorough. But I mean, this stuff, it's awesome, dude. It gives you a lot of insight. And last week we did this, and it was like, not to sound arrogant, but it was like pretty fucking spot on. So hopefully we are on the same page this time. I sound like a douche when I said that. I read it and it worked out, but we got lucky. Brandon says, was especially nice beating the Chargers, considering some Houston media members said they might beat us first round of the playoffs month before even matched up because Harbaugh. Yeah, I mean, not even that. A lot of fans, dude. I mean, first thing I saw with the Chargers, like, fans like, oh, congrats, y'all beat us. Like, god damn, dude. Like, no faith. I mean, I'm glad they're all back, but it's like, shit, man. Like, it's been a crazy season, but damn. What else we got? We got Karlaftis. We touched on that. And then it talks about Stroud and Nico. And like basically Stroud's way better when Nico's on the field. He gets 1.2 more yards per attempt with Nico on the field this season. Like no shit. While also averaging 0.7 more air yards. And then it says he's also averaged a higher completion percentage and face less pressure. That's the key. Less pressure for Stroud when Nico's on the field. And I think part of that is because Nico's a freaking dog and he knows I can just look at him and throw it to him no matter what. And so I feel like a lot of the times when he faces pressure is when he holds on to the ball too long. But when Nico's on the field, one, he knows he'll be open, so he's not worrying. Two, he does get open, so he can throw him the ball. So yeah, over the past 2 seasons, Stroud and Collins have recorded a plus 133 EPA, and that's the second most among a QB wide receiver duo during that time, second to Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Chris Jones, he is aligned as an edge. So this one talks about Chris Jones is like versatile. He'll play edge and interior, whatever, bro. And so like normally that would be an advantage. Like maybe he'll be on Fisher, but if you put him on LT, it's whatever. Should do a good job against him. Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson talks about them. 19% pressure rate from Hunter, 16% from Will, second and seventh, both ranked top 10. They're the only team with 2 in the top 10, and they're beasts. Chris Jones talks about his pressures, talks about the same stuff, kind of. Titus Howard. Shout out Titus Howard. Take a sip for Titus. Hold on. It says that Texans right tackle Titus moved to left guard in week 15 and performed well in that alignment for the remainder of the season, allowing only 0.5 sacks and a 4.3% pressure rate. That would have ranked third among qualified left guards this season. Did you guys hear that? Titus Howard, when he moved to left guard in week 15, he performed well, and he only allowed 0.5 sacks and a 4.3% pressure rate for the remainder of the season, which would have ranked third among all guards this season. And everyone told me, I called for this alignment ever since Kenyon Green was sucking and he got hurt against the Jets. I said, move Titus to left guard, put Blake Fisher at right tackle. The reason for this is because last year's O-line was 1,000 times better with supposedly 1,000 times worse personnel. But, what's the difference? This is the closest iteration to last year's O-line. No wonder it worked. And people said Titus sucked at left guard. No, the hell he didn't. Like, where are they saying this? They just see a clip and think it. Like, he did good last year. He's doing good again. It's LT at left tackle, Titus at left guard, Patterson was at center. You had Shaq at right guard, and then you had George Fant. So now you went back to it. Only difference was Blake Fisher at right tackle. And even with Mason, it wasn't the best. It was still good, but now it's Scruggs. But my point is, like, that was last year's O-line. I wanted us to do it. We did it, and it works. Well, no shit. It's because Titus was good the whole time at guard. I can't believe people were just shitting on him like that. Anyways, that's my rant. Hopefully he stays at left guard next year. And so, yeah, I mean, if he's playing this good, switching into the last quarter of the season to left guard, imagine him playing with a whole offseason, training a certain type of way, working on his technique, weightlifting. Like, he was playing this good at left guard. If he plays left guard full time, he could be a Pro Bowler, dude. Yeah, he'd be third best, is what it says in pass pro. He just needs to work on the running blocking a little bit. Chiefs defense. Let's see. Talks about Chiefs rushed a player lined up off the ball over 26% of their snaps. So this is a couple ones coming up that I don't like for us in our matchup. It basically talks about how they blitz a lot of non-backers, like nickel blitzes, essentially. It says they blitz a defensive back on 18% of dropbacks. It's 11:50 p.m. Damn, I'm going late. I'll be done here soon. The 5th highest rate in the league. The Chiefs have ranked in the top 5 in the DB blitz rate in each of the past 5 seasons. That's not good for us. We have been absolute dog shit at picking up defensive back blitzes, mostly nickel blitzes, because we have these condensed formations. We bring everybody in, and then they just blitz, and we don't have a hot route, and then no one picks them up. But I will say against the Titans, we ran a hot route to Nico. And then I feel like against the Chargers, we picked up a couple nickel blitzes as well. So hopefully it's better. But surface level track record for the season, that's not a good thing for us. So that should be a key on offense is picking up nickel blitzes, which that was also not good for us against the Chargers because Derwin James was also an elite nickel blitzer and he didn't do anything in that regard. So maybe we've turned a new leaf. I think we're almost done on these. If I had enough time and energy, I would just read them all, but I probably will anyways. Texans pass rush pressured Justin Herbert on 50% of his dropbacks, tied for third highest rate in a game this season, led by Will, who had 7 pressures, 1.5 sacks, Autry, 5 pressures, 1 sack, and Hunter, 5 pressures. Only one this season. Whatever. D-line did badass. Got it. Chiefs defense. They've rushed the passer with 5 or more players on 35.6 of opponents' dropbacks this season. 5th highest blitz rate in the NFL this season. So they've rushed the passer with 5 or more. So they like to blitz, yeah. And Chiefs were effective when blitzing this season, generating the 10th highest pressure rate when doing so, which was 44.4%. But when they don't blitz on 20% of dropbacks, okay, I messed that up. I'm trying to skip ahead. But they only generated pressure on 26.4% of dropbacks when not blitzing, 3rd lowest. So when they blitz, they get a lot of pressure. When they don't blitz, no pressure. Big difference, 18% difference is like the 2nd highest, which was the Colts was the highest. So again, we haven't picked up blitzes well this year. So that kind of doesn't bode well, but I feel like the past 2-3 weeks we have. So hopefully we continue that trend. So we got to be on our P's and Q's on offense too. Like assignment, it's kind of similar to defense. They run a lot of games, motions, picks, screens. You got to be on your assignment. You can't be hesitant. You can't be late. Same thing on offense. You got to be to the line of scrimmage. We talked about it. Get the play in. Get up there early. ID the defense. If the crowd noise affects the play call, affects getting to the line of scrimmage, affects the offensive line holding their water, and then coupled with blitzes, that could not be good. C.J. Stroud targeted in-breaking routes on 48% of his passes against the Chargers in the wild card. His highest single game rate of the season. So that's an adjustment by Slowick. It could have been personnel with what we had. I suspect it was more so just the defense we were given. I mean, I watched the game from the seats, and I could tell every freaking play, middle of the field was wide open. I mean, that was our highest. I was in the stands like yelling for us to throw it to the middle of the field more. Like it was the middle of the field was open the entire game against the Chargers. That's not to say it'll be the same against the Chiefs. The Chargers ran a lot of cover 4. And so the middle of the field was wide open. Stroud completed 13 of 16 attempts on end breakers. Yeah, okay. We know it was middle of the field. Defense. 1 second, truly sip. Almost done with the truly. Kind of sad. Chiefs defense. Chiefs utilize split safety coverages. So this is like some shit you see again. You kind of get worried, but they use 2 high safeties on 52% of dropbacks. 4th highest. And Spags has done it a top 5 usage in 5 of this past 6 years. So that's kind of, which is crazy. If he runs cover 1 a lot and split safety, he must rotate. It's either too high or it's cover 1 or blitz. I mean, we saw the graph. It's like basically he runs all kind of shit. Texans defense. This was interesting. They utilize a 5-man front on 31.5% of defensive plays in their wild card matchup with the Chargers. Their highest rate in a game under D'Amico Ryans, including the playoffs. So we ran a 5-man front. I need to go back and look. I don't know if that's like all 5 D linemen or if just maybe a linebacker walked up to the edge, if that's blitzing. But that's very interesting. And it says in the regular season, they use a 4-man front on 80% of their snaps, the 3rd highest. So this is the D'Amico Ryans mastermind. We had this extreme tendency where we're like, this is our defense. They run this all the time, 80%. And then we go into the game and on 30%, I guess it's 10 more percent. But still, I mean, he threw in a wrinkle that's more often than not. And I don't know, I could be assuming, but it could just be because of the personnel matchup. The Chargers running a lot of heavy sets just to counter their personnel. But I mean, it just goes to show things change in the playoffs. Chiefs defense and Stroud. Chiefs allowed a league high 1,200 yards passing and the fourth highest passing success rate in the NFL to quarterbacks targeting tight ends this season. I just burped from that truly. Additionally, they allowed opposing quarterbacks to record 78% completion, third highest when targeting tight ends. But on the flip side, Stroud generated the second lowest success rate, sixth lowest completion. So this one sucks. Chiefs suck at covering tight ends. We suck at throwing the tight ends. And we just lost Kate Stover. So I don't know if we can exploit that or not. Schultz, I would love for you to have a big game. We will see. Almost done, boys. Hang in there. Texans defense. We played man coverage, a season high of 48.9% of dropbacks against the Chiefs last time we played them. We allowed 12 completions on 19 pass attempts and man for 151 yards, while also generating 9 pressures on 22 dropbacks. Mahomes had 151 yards passing against man, were most in his game this season. So this could be D'Amico. I mean, maybe this was a smokescreen from D'Amico, like ran this out there to make them think this would happen. I will say D'Amico has said all offseason, we're at 2 hours and 11 minutes. This is crazy. That's the way to beat the Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jacksons of the playoffs is to win by being able to only rush 4. So we ran a lot of man blitzed last time. Maybe this time that was a smokescreen. He drops back into coverage, cover 2, cover 4, cover 3, cover 6, only rush 4, and allow Daniil, Will, Danico, Mario, Tim, etc., to win their one-on-one matchups with the O-line and get pressure on them. I mean, that's probably what I would do, because if you start going man, they run all of these, like we've mentioned, screens. They run these, pick plays, mesh routes, all that, game bullshit. They'll motion to get mismatches. If you run zone, you force Mahomes to be patient, dink and dunk. And while you do that, you can also get a sack on him and end a drive. So that could be the game plan. Talks about Creed Humphrey did not allow a single quick pressure under 2.5 seconds. Yeah. All right, let me get a couple more comments. You guys are still popping off. Appreciate y'all contributing to the chat. And Brandon, I think we got that one. JJ, Titus shut down Chris Jones last time they matched up 3 weeks ago. That is correct. And he shut him down a couple years ago when he played him as well. JJ says we do better running the ball to the left as well now with Titus at LT moving D lines. Yep, good point. Brandon, Titus was injured last offseason, needed a healthy offseason where he can get stronger. Yep. Brandon says, kept Pacheco under 3 yards per carry last time. And, their rushing offense doesn't – we got an advantage on the rushing. TQ game, LMAO. Yeah, I mean, TQ, shit, we need him, baby. Let's see. CJ, we talked about that, right? Oh, yeah. I posted this earlier. This was crazy. Stroud's productivity dropped in week 16 when Tank Dell left early in the third quarter with a knee injury. Stroud's overall completion percentage dropped by 18% after Dell's injury. Yeah, he struggled. But most people said, it's because he was emotional. Head was out of the game. No one really talked about, we missed our number 2 receiver, who was basically our number 1 receiver for that day in the game plan. Or this fact. Stroud faced a 69% pressure rate post-play. Nice, but not nice, compared to only 26. So before Tank got hurt, he was pressured 26% of the time. After that, 69% of the time. So, I mean, not only did you lose a receiver that was your best receiver that day as far as productivity, but you started getting pressured. Part of that could have been because you were looking for Engineer says at the gym listening to high level analysis. You're a fucking real one, dude. That's awesome. This is some real nerd shit, and that is awesome that you were tuning in. You're probably having the lamest workout, but hey, hopefully you're just like doing cardio or something boring, not like doing deadlifts. I'm probably not the most hype for that, but I'll take it. But yeah, so Stroud, let's see. Yeah, so Tank got hurt and CJ sucked, not because he was crying and emotional, but because he missed his receiver and because the blocking was bad too. So I mean, shit. And part of that probably is because receivers weren't getting open and he had to scramble. Um, Joe Tooney and Mike Caliendo, any relation to Frank Caliendo? I don't know. Um, this was something I thought was very interesting, and we're just now getting to it. In weeks 1 through 14, with Joe Tooney, Looney Tunes, don't know how to say your last name, is the H silent, Thuney at left guard, the Chiefs' interior O-line, LG, C, and RG, which is left guard, center, and right guard for those who don't know, allowed a 5.1% pressure rate, the fourth lowest. So their interior O-line to start the year was elite, but their tackles started sucking ass. So they had to do something. What do? They moved their awesome left guard, Joe Tooney, whatever the hell, I think it's Tooney, to left tackle. And the Chiefs interior also allowed just 4 sacks, which was tied for fourth fewest. Again, the interior line was elite. They switched Tooney to left tackle in week 15. Mike Caliendo, Frank Caliendo's grandson, said he went to fill in at left guard. And in weeks 15 through 17, the Chiefs interior allowed a pressure rate of 8.1%, the 8th highest mark during that 3-game span. So, it's a lesser of two evils. They improved their left tackle by putting Looney Tunes out there, but they decreased the effectiveness of their best part of their line, the interior. So I think that's good for us because our edges are good regardless. So is our interior. But that last game against them, I mean, I guess this was their O-line, but Mahomes was rushing up the middle. So, yeah, I'll take that. I mean, shit. Anyhow, we got a couple left, boys. Couple left. And then Michael Allen, if CJ Stroud uses his leg the game, the Texans win. I agree, bro. Brandon, so Spags has no morals. Facts. I'm getting really tired, boys. I'm trying to hang in there. Texans have generated a league high 38.5% pressure rate this season, including the playoffs. And when they've generated pressure, they have 9 interceptions, second most, and league low completion percentage. And then it says that the Chiefs allowed pressure on 30% of dropbacks this season, 8th lowest. So again, something's got to give. When pressured, Mahomes averaged a career low 5.6 yards per pass attempt, 7th lowest in the league, but generated an 8-4 TD interception ratio. So we had the advantage. Our pass rush versus their pass pro. Ours is the best. Theirs is above average. And then when Mahomes does get pressured, he's not as good. So that's a big key right there. Pressuring Mahomes. And then let's see. This is hilarious. Engineer says, hearing Stroud is third improvisation helped me with the dumbbell presses. That's hilarious. Love it, man. I'm kind of thrown off now. That was where was I just at? Defense. Where did I go? Looney Tunes, defense. Okay, Chiefs defense. On design rushes, the Chiefs defense contacted opposing rushers behind the line of scrimmage at the second highest rate this season. Additionally, they allowed explosive runs at the third lowest rate. So their run defense is pretty good. But we saw earlier our matchup isn't that bad. Let's see. Make sure it's So it'll be the running game will be tough. We are almost done. Let's see. It says Mahomes is most effective on quick passes. He was most effective on quick passes in week 16, 17 of 19. So again, It was against us running man. It was quick passes, little bullshit screens, little bullshit pick plays, run zone, take that out of the playbook. Hopkins, he's been good with. Oh, this is sad. Hopkins caught all 4 of his targets for 37 yards against the Texans. The second time he was recorded a 100% catch rate and a plus 10 receiving yards ever expected or more in 4 games against his longtime home team. So basically, he's good against us, even though he didn't put up crazy numbers. Yeah. So back on the Chiefs O line, both starting Chiefs tackles allowed 7 pressures against the Texans, each to 4 different pass rushers. Jawan Taylor's 7 pressures allowed tied his season high before he was replaced by Wanya Morris. What a name. Who did not allow a single pass pressure on 10 pass blocks in the fourth quarter. Taylor primarily matched up with Daniel Hunter, allowing just 1 pressure on 18 matchups. Taylor also faced Danico Autry 3 pressures, Will Anderson Jr. 2 pressures, and Dylan Horton 1 pressure. On the other side, Joe Thuney, Looney Tooney, also a season high 7 pressures. So he's supposed to be this badass guard at tackle. He didn't play good against us, 7 pressures. Against Hunter, had 2 pressures, and Anderson had 3 pressures. So their tackles did not play good against us. We only had 1 sack, I believe, but we still got pressure on them. So kind of misleading, you know? And then, yeah, we got Chris Jones stuff, whatever. I know he's a beast, but hopefully we keep him in check. Yeah, and it talks about Stroud again against split safety coverage. He did good last time. Hopefully that continues, but that's enough for that. I will go through one last thing. I was just super thorough. It's playoffs. I know you want all the good stuff. One thing I forget to do sometimes is on PFF. Is their little breakdown stuff. We'll go to NFL scores. And I got to piss like a mug, dude. All right. So PFF, power rank overall, Texans 7th, Chiefs 4th. I need to share the screen just in case y'all want to see. If anybody's still watching, probably not. Getting tired of me talking. So let's get a little zoom in. Where did we go? What did it do? Spread. What is going on? Okay, whatever. It'll be right here in this corner right here. Power rank overall, Texans 7th, Chiefs 4th. Defense, Texans 4th, Chiefs 2nd. And then offense, we're 21st, they're 11th. I think that our offense is probably accurate, but trending up. I think their offense is not that good. I think our defense is better than their defense. And so strength of schedule played, 24th for the Texans, 15th for the Chiefs. And then the lineups is another thing that's pretty cool too. Just check my Twitter on this. It'll kind of be hard to kind of articulate this, and it's not up to date. But yeah, that's all I got. Engineer says Jawan Taylor, the false starting king. Expect the refs not to call any of them. Yes, that is so true. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm sorry for not getting to comments late on TikTok and Instagram. I appreciate all of you tuning in. Again, feel free to attend the watch party that myself and other fellow Texans content creators are hosting at Tejas Brewery in the Heights. Check my Twitter or website for details. DM me if you got any questions. As always, if you could, please follow me on all my socials if you have them, even if you don't use them, just to help me out. They're all below. And also feel free to check out the website. If you don't do anything, or if you do one thing, please subscribe to my free newsletter. I'm starting to write more articles, and check out the merch, videos on there, all that good stuff. I appreciate you guys. One last comment from Ben. He says, "Isn't it funny how the refs just stopped calling illegal formation on the tackles, even though I swear I've seen it while watching the games?" That is true. Like, they were hard on it and then just stopped. That is crazy. But yeah, I appreciate y'all tuning in. Y'all have a good night. Don't forget, tomorrow I will be having a live stream with Mark Vandermeer, voice of the Texans, rock and roll, at 10 a.m. and it'll be a live Q&A. So I'll kind of like be talking to him, and then y'all come in and ask questions, and I'll pop them up and have them answer them for you guys. So Score prediction. Shit, I've held it off as a teaser the whole time. I think the Texans win. So going through what we just went through, um, I think it's a defensive battle. I think that we win 20-17. Yep, that's my prediction. 20-17 Texans. Go Texans. We blessing.